there should be more protection here.
I mean, I felt really sad after this thing. So it should not have happened yet.
Crime has gone up in the city.
Would you say there's a big difference with how crime has gone up in the last 5 years?
It sort of feels that way, yeah. Cuomo's record is terrible, and, you know, as governor, Mandani is a disaster.
You cannot walk around this city and not be aware of your surroundings because anything can happen at any time. Being in New York is very rough, so you got to be aware and be on your P's and Q's.
For me, it's just a sort of like wry acceptance that crime does happen and you're not ever going to be 100% safe.
It is kind of like concerning, but I know they're really trying to like crack down and stuff.
Do you feel safe in New York City?
No,
And the shooting just took place right behind you. How do you feel about that?
it's terrible because every day is something in New York. Every day it's not, I don't know.
It's horrible and horrific.
The choice cannot be clearer for who needs to lead the city come November. Lauren Reidinger for Newsmax.
Yeah, that was a really great report from Lauren in terms of getting a wealth of perspectives on the street there and people literally standing right outside of that building where the attacks occurred.
Yeah, some of these things are just totally unpredictable, and it's a horror. But again, we have to learn from these lessons that there's still crime, there's still a lot of criminals out there, and we need more police, not less, Mr. Mandami.
Yeah, and just before we go, on a side note, it is our producer Lauren's last day. You've been absolutely wonderful, Lauren, and we wish you the very best.
We'll miss you.
We will.
Coming up, more on First Edition after the break.
Don't go anywhere.
Rick Leventhal reported on the biggest stories of our time. Now he's fighting to bring you the truth, no matter what it takes. Watch The Leventhal Report, weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern on Newsmax 2.
Hi, folks, we're back. If you've been injured in an accident that's not your fault and you don't have an attorney, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you what your case is potentially worth. Pick up the phone, call now.
There are a lot of Medicare Advantage plans, but who has time to call a bunch of different carriers to compare options? What if I told you it can take just one call? If you're new to Medicare, recently moved, or losing coverage, you qualify for a special enrollment period. By calling the number on your screen, you can compare rates and plans from multiple carriers. No more dialing around, no more headaches. It's fast, it's easy, and it's all done for you by a licensed insurance agent. You could get the coverage you want at a rate that fits your budget. It won't take more than a few minutes of your day, saving time, and it may save you money.
I'm new to Medicare, so I called to make sure I understood plans and benefits available in my area.
I just became eligible for Medicare, so I called to find a plan that fits my budget.
I'm on Medicare and recently moved, so I called to make sure to find a plan in my new community.
One call to compare options from multiple carriers.
For a free no-obligation consultation, call 800-549-9841.
Imagine the peace of mind you'll have knowing that you've explored your options and chosen the right plan for you. No more second-guessing whether you could have found better coverage. Whether you're looking to reduce the cost of your plan, add benefits, or simply ensure your current doctors are still covered, this one call can make all the difference. Don't risk missing out on Medicare Advantage plans with important additional benefits. Call the Benefits Network to speak to a licensed insurance agent about Medicare Advantage plans and compare rates from national carriers.
I'm on Medicare and recently moved, so I called to make sure to find a plan in my new community.
I just became eligible for Medicare, so I called to find a plan that fits my budget.
One call to compare options from multiple carriers. It's your health, your peace of mind, and your time. Make the most of it today.
For a free no-obligation consultation, call 800-549-9841. That's 800-549-9841.
Well, it is the first of the month, Tom, and you know what that means. The jobs report, breaking news this morning in terms of those numbers, 73,000 jobs added in July. This is much lower than the Dow Jones estimate of the 100,000 gain. We also saw previous months be revised downward, down by a combined 258,000 from the previous announced levels.
Significant revisions down. So obviously job growth isn't going up. We'd like to see it. And all roads now lead to Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, as President Trump calls him, too late, Powell. It looks like he's too late again.
Yeah, this is all the more reason why he needs to cut rates. The economic data is there for him to do so, and these weak job numbers are another indication that it's time to cut rates.
What are all these PhDs doing there? They're getting the wrong data.
Enjoy the Dove. Help spread the word. Tell someone who needs the love of Jesus about the Dove's encouraging and informative programming. Spread the word.
All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Mickey Mouse Club. Here we are.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, this is where everybody's happy and we all have big ears.
Good. And we're all happy it's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Friday. A lot going on in the news. There always is. And the weather, kind of interesting. Huffed and puffed last night.
Oh, we did it, but
nothing happened.
Okay, I was going to ask over the valley because up my neck of the woods, I was going out. We were going to do some games. I had a couple grandchildren out, and we walked outside, and right above it went.
Yeah.
And I said, kids, we might want to go inside.
Yeah.
And nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Yes.
And the color with it yesterday,
yeah.
It started to happen just as the sun was between the lower clouds and the mountain, and it cast this orange color. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But, man, it huffed and puffed and roared, but nothing.
Yeah.
So, hopefully no fires. I haven't seen anything yet. So, anyway, good morning to you. Happy Friday. A lot in the news. We'll get to that. What's going on?
Well, it is National Fifth Commandment Day, or Respect for Parents Day. We'll call it the Fifth Commandment. The world will say respect for parents, but we know honor your mother and your father, your father and your mother.
Yeah.
Yes. This day was created to remind, as a reminder, that parents deserve the respect that you should give them. It isn't limited for your kids. It's for anybody else. Look at a parent, that those folks go through something that is common to a lot of people, but it is challenging at times, to say the best. But anyway, it's also...
I was going to say, isn't it interesting that you look at your relationship with your parents after you start having kids?
Significantly, like your view changes, doesn't it?
Well, just a lot of light bulbs go off.
Yeah. So, again, Fifth Commandment Day.
Fifth Commandment Day. Oh, I like that.
Keep that in mind. Also, we know that in, organ donor programs, they're always in need. People are always on waiting lines, waiting, on waiting lists anyway, waiting for a specific organ to become available. And there's an emphasis to tell people, sign up, be an organ donor. But I guess it's even a more critical shortage in minority communities. Today is Minority Donor Awareness. And they say that within the African American, Asian, Hispanic, Native American, and Pacific Islander American communities, there is a serious shortage of transplants. So might be your day to sign up.
You got to give it some serious thought.
Yeah.
It's amazing. One of the most moving things I saw was the other day to this whole thing was there was a wedding going on. And so what had happened was is the groomsmen come out. There's the guy that's going to get married.
Yeah.
And then he has his groomsmen.
Yeah.
Well, there was a surprise groomsman standing there.
Okay.
And then, of course, here comes the bride. And, of course, she's, not paying much attention to the groomsmen.
Okay.
And
starting early.
It's probably a good thing you got your eye on the right guy.
Okay.
And so they get up there, and the guy performing the wedding, officiating the wedding, he does the opening prayer, and we're here to join, Susie and Bob. But we also have a very special guest today because he looked at Susie. He says, I know how much on your wedding day, you wanted your brother to be here. But we have somebody here who is very special, and she mentioned the sky, and she almost fainted. It was the guy who got her brother's heart.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
Your brother is here.
Oh, that's very touching.
Isn't that something?
Oh, my
I mean, it's one of those videos on the internet that just, I mean, you were speechless when it was over.
Yeah, I bet.
Good stuff. Anyway,
Well,
think about that.
Take that to heart.
I would donate my brain, but gosh, there's not even an institution would want it. I mean, you think they'd want to examine it and take a look?
Wait a minute. I want to ask you, when it comes to donors, I'm getting a little older here. Are there expiration dates on my things? They say, no, we'll pass.
I don't know. They actually sent me a letter in advance. Don't bother.
Oh my goodness! Let's move on.
Okay.
It is national, and it's a good time of year for it. National Water Balloon Day. Fill them up, sling them, have fun.
When was the last time you had a water balloon?
Oh boy, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Oh, they can be lots of fun. Though I didn't realize this though. Edgar Ellington invented the waterproof sock in 1950. Backyards haven't been the same since. I'm gonna have to look it up. What they call the water. Was that the first balloons? I don't know. But we do all kinds of things. The longest toss competition, a good old water balloon fight, and, choose sides equally and have fun. Also, this is for all the ladies out there, National Girlfriends Day.
Oh, gosh.
To girlfriends.
Can you stick around with Pam?
No. When the girlfriends come over, I often find a chore to do. Yes. In fact, I got to tell you the truth. When the girlfriends come over, Pam doesn't want me around.
Okay, well, if it was a foggy day, it'd lift the fog.
So, ladies,
stay away. Don't even go in for a glass of water.
No, absolutely.
Shower outside with a hose. Do something.
Right. Oh, yes, I agree. Very good. Okay. One thing to eat. National Raspberry Cream Pie Day. Now, yesterday we had raspberry cake. And today, of course, we're celebrating the season of raspberries, obviously.
Yeah. Raspberry cheesecake? Is that what this is?
This is Raspberry Cream Pie Day.
Oh, cream pie.
Yes. Now, let's see. It doesn't really give us a recipe here. It just starts telling me about the health benefits of raspberries, and I did that yesterday. So, but anyway, raspberries obviously good for you, antioxidants, filled with flavor, and a great summertime treat. And it does kind of look like it's on cheesecake, doesn't it?
Yeah, but the interesting thing about raspberries, you got to eat them. I mean, if you mix them up, you end up putting sugar on them.
Oh yeah.
So if you want the full benefits, just wash them and eat them.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Okay, let's see. One last thing here, and that is pay scales. So hopefully we have a little video on that, because it always takes me back when I get to see a little video of The Wizard of Oz. Did you realize that Toto the dog, was paid $125 per week while filming The Wizard of Oz? Now, this was 1939. It was the 1939 hit, and Toto was played by a brindle Cairn Terrier named Terry. She was paid $125 a week, which was more than most of the human actors, especially the dwarf actors who played the Munchkins, who only made $50 to $100 a week.
Really?
Yes.
Well, back then.
Yeah. Well, yeah. This is all really weird when you think about it. A dog got more than the Munchkins, but now let's face it. The dog kind of had a starring role, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Munchkins were just kind of crew, right?
Yeah.
Or at least background. But.
Well, when you look at this movie, it's absolutely fascinating.
Isn't it? I started
the screenplay, the whole 9 yards.
The whole thing. Look at the rich textures, the color, I remember, as kids, we grew up watching this on TV.
Yeah.
And of course, we watched it on black and white TV.
Yeah.
So when the house landed in Oz and the doors opened and it was color, for us it was still black and white. Yeah. We didn't know it until we were a little older. But oh man,
By the way, you
fantastic.
can go to the Smithsonian. Dorothy's shoes are there.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And they've been delicately protected. You know. So.
and they're basically like red sequined shoes, right?
I can't remember, but I mean they're there.
Yeah.
And they've had to protect them because of they just decay.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, okay.
There you go.
Okay. Well, he wasn't.
No.
I don't know how to transition out of this.
I don't either, but I'm always surprised and waiting for yours.
Well, I know. Well, let's see.
So is Pam, by the way.
Wizard of Oz and Jerry. Okay, he's the guy behind the curtain doing this. Okay.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. We move to the weekend with temperatures near seasonal norms, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-80s for Vancouver and Portland, sunny in upper 80s for Wilsonville and McMinnville. Lots of sunshine today as we move down the Willamette Valley with daytime high temperatures near 89 for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with a calm wind becoming north 5 to 7 miles per hour this afternoon. In central Oregon, mostly sunny in upper 80s in Prineville, partly sunny with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in mid-80s for Bend and Sun River, sunny then isolated thunderstorms in low 90s in Boise, Idaho. Patchy fog again this morning along the Oregon coast, then sunny to partly sunny with daytime highs in the low 70s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, upper 50s in Brookings, and near 63 in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, sunny, then a slight chance of thunderstorms with highs in the mid-90s for Grants Pass and Medford and near 89 in Ashland. In the Klamath Basin, a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a high near 87. Into northern California, a slight chance of showers, then thunderstorms in Wairika with a high near 90. Sunny and hot in Redding with a high near 100, near 95 in Chico and 93 in Sacramento. In the Bay Area, early patchy fog, then mostly sunny with highs near 84 in Santa Rosa and near 80 in Napa. Mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the upper 60s. And today in San Jose, becoming sunny in low 80s. It's a snapshot of your Friday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, a beautiful shot, and we do have some clouds out there, and you can sure tell the day's getting shorter.
Oh, boy.
You know, and it actually cooled down at my place about 6:30, you know. It was really nice. But anyway, we're quite a ways from a full sunrise there this morning, but beautiful area.
Yeah. Well, time for a little encouragement as the Reverend Billy Graham uses Zacchaeus as his illustration.
He needed other things, but the thing that he needed most of all was Christ. He needed God. Have mercy upon me, you son of David. Have mercy upon me. That's what we all need tonight, is God's mercy. Mercy. When I stand at the judgment seat of Christ, I'm not going to say, Lord, I want justice. If I get justice, I'm going to end up in hell. I want mercy. And God has offered His mercy from the cross, and He says, I will forgive you and cleanse you from every sin that you've ever committed. You'll never have to face the judgment. You will never be in danger of hell if you surrender your life to Jesus Christ. And so you have to say, first of all, I am a sinner. You have to say that to yourself and maybe to others. Just like an alcoholic. Before you can help an alcoholic, they have to be willing to say, I'm an alcoholic. Before you can help in drug addiction, you have to say, I am a drug addict. I need help. And when you come to Christ, you must say, I am a sinner. I need help. And oh, Lord God, please help me.
Yeah, you know, only two things change you, inspiration or desperation. You know, so good stuff all the way around. Well, good morning to you. Welcome to August 1st.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Didn't even think of that.
August 1st. Here we go. So let's take a look at some of the top stories. August 1st, not only August 1st, but it was the day that all the new tariffs were readjusted. Some good and some not so good.
And one, again, postponed.
Yeah. I mean, it's just life in the fast lane, according to DT.
Well put, yeah.
DJT.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, the first thing is that the South Korea agreed yesterday to invest $350 billion It was the lead of a massive shipbuilding project in the United States. So President Trump has negotiated with South Korea. And I'll tell you why this is good all the way around. You know why? Well, first of all, the president's been pretty anxious to have us start building ships again.
Yeah.
Across the board, and primarily military, but this shipbuilding to come to America. This is tying America to South Korea a little bit more significantly to put squeeze on North Korea and possibly China as they move towards Taiwan.
All right.
So it strengthens that relationship. So good deal. By the way, South Korea agreed to a 15% tariff on goods entering the United States, compared to the 25% rate would have been implemented had they not agreed to something today. So they saved 10% on this deal.
Wow.
That's a big deal. Now, let me just stop here and tell you what the president's doing here. Well, there's a lot of things that he's doing here. But when you're making America the #1 investment place to do business, he's stealing business away from China like crazy by having all this. And they're paying the labor fees here, which means our workforce is going to get paid bigger dollars and more money. And he's making America the #1 marketplace in the world. If everything's coming to America to be made, everybody wants to do business in America, and this is where the tariff thing comes in. So today is the day that the president implements tariffs with countries that didn't play. And guess who got it? Our Canadian friends. Got bumped another 10%, 35% from 25%. Now, Carney up there is still, this poor globalist doesn't know what hit him.
Right.
He thinks he can be a happy globalist, socialist guy from France and just make everything warm and fuzzy. It's not working for him, okay? And one reason why he raised the tariff on Canada is because Carney is calling for a two-state solution in Israel.
Right.
That's one of the reasons.
Yep.
Okay. We'll see what, you know what the main reason is why he raised it 10%? To stop the illegal drug flow coming into the United States.
Specifically fentanyl.
Yeah. So if you guys want to play a game with us, then protect your borders or protect our borders. So that's the other one.
Let me ask you something real quick. Do you think there's any personal animosity between Trump and Carney? They don't seem to get along very well.
Well, look, you have a capitalist and a globalist.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just some things ice cream doesn't solve.
Okay.
And I can't, philosophically, no, they're odds.
Yeah, they are at odds.
But I really think Carney is slowly waking up that being prime minister isn't as easy as he thought it was going to be. He thought he could just implement his one world global thinking, and it's not working.
Right.
And you know what's really bad about him? His citizens don't want it. What he's doing to the country, he's trying to blame Trump. Well, the citizens don't want it. Okay, so Canada's an interesting place. You got a lot of French up there. It's a socialist commonwealth. What do you do with this? It's kind of a weird place.
It is.
But it is a beautiful country.
Yeah.
And there's some beautiful people up there.
Yeah.
And great churches up there, in spite of the fact they don't like churches. The government doesn't. All right, the other one is roughly 154,000 federal employees now, since the beginning of Trump taking over, have agreed to take the buy-off offer from the president. This is not including management. And that has reduced the federal workforce by 6.7%. Of the civilian federal workforce has been reduced by people taking the buyout.
Wow.
Now, other people who are directly associated with the government tried and are trying to switch to another department, to stay within the system. Okay. I don't have those numbers, but this number so far, 154,000 of the civilian federal workers have taken the buyout. That's pretty interesting. Okay, and moved on. And the whiners out there, the whiners and the squealers are the people who have never worked with a budget and have never balanced the sheet or maybe never even balanced their own checkbook. This is what you do when your country or your company isn't working.
Yeah.
No, you decrease overhead and you increase revenue.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, but part of the fight is who has the authority to cut waste, cut fraud, cut some of these, some of these agencies that are bloated. So it seems as though that is where part of this has shifted, is who's doing it.
Well, you got to remember, we have an executive branch, and the term executive is we have an executive officer, and it happens to be the President of the United States. At the end of the day, he is the boss.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And even though these agencies think they're autonomous and they're independent from the executive branch, it's not true, because all of these cases that have been challenged have been overturned in the appellate courts. The president keeps winning them.
Yeah.
So, that would be like me being the boss here, and I couldn't do anything with the staff.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Right.
Not that I'm looking to do anything. It's just that that's how crazy it is.
Yeah.
So anyway, so much for all that. A few stories there this morning.
Well, I'm looking for one that disappeared, and I was wondering maybe if you saw it. I saw a story and heard a little bit about it coming in, that Trump wants to remodel the ballroom in the White House, $200 million, and he said he's going to pay for it? What?
He's not taking a salary.
Yeah, he's not taking a salary.
He donates his salary to various groups.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he wants to remodel the ballroom in the White House.
Will this become the Trump ballroom if he pays for it?
Well, I'm glad you brought this up.
Golly.
And he wants to pay for it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think you know what that tells me.
What?
He is itching for a construction project. The poor guy.
Yes.
He's having construction withdrawals.
He likes hard hats.
Yeah. He wants to wear a White House into the Oval Office. But yes, he wants to do that, and if he's going to pay for it, I guess he can do it.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
It's yet to be seen what's going to happen to the Kennedy Center.
Right, because they were talking about renaming that.
Yes. I hope they don't do it while he's president.
Me too.
I hope they do
I
it
agree. Yes, I agree.
That wouldn't be cool.
Oh, I don't think so.
And besides, why?
Yeah, right.
Why? Just leave it at the Kennedy Center and clean it up.
Yes.
Just leave it alone.
Right. I agree.
But
oh golly.
No, he's going to. He wants to. By the way, have you noticed his Oval Office? Have you paid any attention to his office?
Yeah, I've been looking at it. We see a lot of footage out there. What are you looking at?
I have never seen so much stuff crowded into that office ever.
And there's a lot of gold
everywhere.
Yeah, gold-plated gilding, everything, yes.
All of the stuff around the doors.
Right. I mean, in fact, he has been coordinating his ties with it recently. He's been wearing gold ties.
Well,
I'm not kidding.
When you look at the Oval Office, he's got a bunch of pictures on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
He brought things out of the archives and brought them into the office.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's got stuff in there. I think it's a copy of the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. I can't remember. And he has it behind a curtain so that the light doesn't get to it. But he's able to open it up when people come in there. I guess it's one of the original copies.
Okay. All right.
But moreover, to your point, look at all the trim.
Oh, my goodness.
It's all gold.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's what drew him to the Middle East.
Oh, yeah.
And all of the opulence of gold of those various countries that the kings and...
Yeah, he seemed pretty comfortable over there, didn't he?
Yeah, he likes gold.
Yeah.
Okay, well, to me it's a little...
A little much?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it. So if he does the ballroom, will it have gold in it?
Will it have anything else in it? What?
And besides, where in the White House is a ballroom?
I don't know where I don't know, but obviously there is one. Okay, because we see pictures. You know, one of the most. Well, there are a lot of famous pictures. You see Princess Di and the now king dancing together. In fact, I saw a picture of Princess Di dancing with John Travolta in the ballroom.
Oh.
Yeah, from years and years ago. It must be, yeah.
It must be downstairs because
Maybe.
I was downstairs where they had these various meeting rooms, and that's where Clinton did his funny stuff down there. So, and they kind of showed it to us. They kind of showed it to us so that he would, anyway. But if you go to this up there where all the rooms are, the blue room, the green room, and the east wing and all that, and then the spiral staircase up to the living quarters.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
But I'm assuming it's downstairs.
Okay, next to the bowling alley? Yeah.
The bowling alley and the pool.
And the pool, yes. All right.
Okay. So if Trump's praying for it,
Oh, what? Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, 23 minutes past the hour. What do we have? Raspberry.
Oh, yeah, raspberry cream pie.
There we go.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Enjoy.
At Hellgate Jetboat Excursions, we salute you. Military Mondays are here. Active duty military guard, reserve, and retired military members get 50% off their ticket price every Monday of the season. It's our way of saying thank you for your service. But heads up, this offer is only valid on Mondays. One discount per reservation and can't be booked online. Call to book your adventure today. Hellgate Jetboat Excursions, where adventure runs wild, and we honor our heroes. Some restrictions apply. Visit hellgate.com for details.
A lot of the drugs and alcohol I began to do was an escape from the pain. Struggle with my identity, struggle with my sexuality, struggling with feeling like I wanted to be loved. I would cry about it, I would be sad about it, but then I would find myself back doing it. And I heard a voice and say, it's just a question. If you was to die right now, where would you spend eternity?
Friday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Ecclesiastes 3:11 says this: God has planted eternity in the human heart. But even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. Now, I want you to notice that verse. Notice it says, God has planted eternity in the human heart. What does that mean? It means that no matter where you are in the world, no matter what religion somebody has, human beings have a God-given, built-in instinct to realize there's got to be more to life than just here and now. Eternity was put in our hearts. We got to think there's got to be more to this. There's got to be more to life after death. Why does every religion believe there's life after death? Because God wired us that way. You were made for more than just the here and now.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
How y'all doing out there? Happy Friday. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, some backyard news here. It's kind of interesting. I really do hope that some of these cities in the West Coast can recover. San Francisco, Portland. I really hope Portland can somehow wake up.
Yeah.
What a beautiful city. And people just drive by it now, you know. Well, the mayor over there may have a little bit of an epiphany going on. Portland mayor, the new guy, Keith Wilson, he ordered the city bureaus to change the wording for city programs that benefit minority groups to comply with President Donald Trump's anti-DEI directives. So the city is slowly acquiescing to the new things. This means that the city programs and services cannot give preference to groups with protected class status based on the characteristics such as race or gender.
Okay.
Well, this is kind of a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the things, but look at that city. It is beautiful.
Gorgeous, yeah.
And you just kind of hope it can get its act back together. I guess the biggest surprise for me about Portland is why the citizens didn't do anything. Those people who live up around the Rose Garden and all that, where all those beautiful old homes are and everything. It's a big part of the city. You just wonder, why didn't they speak up?
Yeah.
But anyway, maybe Portland can recover.
Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah.
It's just a great place. And all the restaurants and all that, you know.
Yeah.
Right. In the meantime, some universities are feeling the squeeze, and such is the case in our own backyard. Southern Oregon University, the current budget is about $71 million a year, and the new president, I haven't met President Bailey yet. His name's Rick Bailey. And he says he needs to cut the work to bring the budget down from $71 million to $60 million. So that's an $11 million cut.
Yeah.
A lot of this has to do with federal funding for students and all the other things that go on. So here's what President Bailey has decided to do. He voluntarily said, I will take a 20% pay and cut, excuse me.
Okay, all right.
Which is about $53,000 to cut out of his annual salary. And I have to say this. This is leadership. Lead by example.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing good things about it. I haven't met him yet. I've gotten to know quite a few of those presidents through the years. And I just like having that relationship, and they know who we are. I just want to let them know that we're real people, and we eat peanut butter and drink milk just like they do, you know. And so anyway, but I just want to say thank you. I mean, this is great leadership. This is what you do. So he's leading by example and trying to get this university to balance. Guess what? He knows how to read a balance sheet.
Good news, yeah.
So good stuff. All right, let's take a look at the satellite image. Here's what's going on with the weather out there. And guess what? We could see,
what?
C-O-U-L-D, see some 70-degree temperatures in summer.
You are absolutely right. By Monday, maybe we could. But and even if it doesn't hit 70s, we're going back into the 80s. It's going to be nice.
Yeah, pretty nice.
How about that?
But that is the makings of T-storms. Be ready.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, and it could happen again this afternoon. So be careful out there. Well,
I think we're.
Interesting that would you, if you were serving in Congress and you were going to vote on insider trading bill, you'd have to have a pretty good reason to not vote for it, or to try and implement an insider trading bill to try regulate.
Okay, well,
because you'd have to explain it to your constituents, right? Well, if you didn't go along with it?
So well, the first thing I would do is sell my stock. Then I'd vote against it.
Okay, well, this is interesting because we have Senator Rand Paul, and he joined Stuart Varney, and he talks about why he voted against the insider trading bill.
Well, I think we're going to discourage good people, successful people from holding office. Part of the bill, I do believe, would forbid the president immediately from buying and selling stocks, and it would exempt him from the divestiture part. Future presidents wouldn't be allowed to own things. So if Donald Trump were the next president, which some say he might run for a third term, but he would be forced to divest everything. He would have to sell all of his possessions. And I think Donald Trump's got a complicated, probably financial empire, and a lot of people just wouldn't want to sell it or get involved with all of that. You also don't want to sell it during a downturn. There's a lot of reasons it would discourage successful people. And I frankly think that some of the success of Donald Trump being president is that he was used to the world of high finance, used to making deals with large amounts of money. And I don't think we want to discourage people like that from holding office.
Well, that's a good point, but I think what we really want to discourage is the ability for those serving in Congress to get inside information and then make trades before these things become public or available to the public. And I think that's the crux of what we're hoping to take care of here.
Yeah, I understand what the senator is saying, but that just tells me the bill isn't properly written.
Right. Yeah.
It needs to go back to committee and tighten it up a little bit. Yeah, because when you do, this is what happens. This is what they call making sausage. It's really ugly stuff,
Very good.
So this is why light item veto would be great. Yeah. Our president can clean it up. It should be focused on the very thing you talked about, but it's got all this other stuff in it.
Naturally, yeah. Right.
So that's so typical of Washington. It is. All right, we'll take a sausage break. We'll be right back.
Since 1987, Four Seasons Nursery has been the gold standard in the green industry here in Southern Oregon. Tim Albert and his friendly staff continue to offer the best plants and most accurate knowledge to create your dream landscape. At Four Seasons Nursery on Crater Lake Avenue, you can let your imagination run wild with a huge selection of all things plant and gardening for both inside and outside beautification. Whether it's a flower for your window seal, one of our beautifully renowned signature hanging baskets, or a complete landscape design for your entire property, Four Seasons Nursery can help you every step of the way with design services, workshops, and more. Let your imagination run wild as you immerse yourself in their nursery filled with beauty that knows no bounds. Four Seasons Nursery, 5736 Crater Lake Avenue, 5736 Crater Lake Avenue, 1/2 mile north of Vilas Road, 541-779-5603, 541-779-5603.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Hi, good morning. Happy Friday to you. Raspberry something, whatever you want to do. What do you call it? Cream pie?
Raspberry cream pie or whatever. Just have something raspberry.
I don't know how July got past me by not knowing that it was hot dog month.
Yeah.
We've had hot dog days, but hot dog month.
Hot dog month, that's big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to ask the question, I probably be careful here.
Okay.
Do you know where I can get a good hot dog around here?
I'll tell you. Yeah.
Okay, because they just seem to be kind of routine. There's nothing special about them.
What, do you want a chili dog? Do you want a Dove dog? Do you want a...
I want a butterfly dog with my stuff on it.
I think you're going to have to go home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's check in with CBN Newswatch.
Okay.
This is CBN Newswatch.
Thank you so much for joining us for CBN Newswatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Today is Friday, the first day of August. We're going to begin this half hour in the Middle East, where President Trump's envoy arrived in Israel Thursday, and it could not come soon enough, some say. Now, as more countries are jumping on the bandwagon to recognize a Palestinian state if Israel does not quickly end the war in Gaza. And Steve Witkoff's visit is expected to focus on humanitarian aid and brokering a clear path to a ceasefire. CBN's Paul Petit has more now in our top story from Jerusalem.
U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff arrived in Israel as international pressure on Israel over the war against Hamas in Gaza is increasing. This week, a wave of countries announced it would recognize a Palestinian state if the war doesn't come to an end soon. Canada followed France and the UK in making the moves. Germany is holding off for now, but Palestinians are encouraged by what they're seeing so far.
Regarding Canada's recognition, for me, this is an achievement for us because all the countries have started. France was the first, then Canada and Spain. It's clear that we have reached a broader understanding of the Palestinian cause.
But Israel doesn't see it that way. Witkoff met with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem on Thursday and is touring Gaza with U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee today to inspect distribution of aid. Delivering more food to Gaza is their first order of business. President Trump tells NBC News that good management will prevent Hamas from stealing the aid. Israel is facing mounting pressure along with claims of deliberate starvation. Israel's ambassador to the U.S. is blasting those accusations.
In the month of June, 2,134 trucks were sent into Gaza. Only 260 arrived at their destination. That means 90% was diverted by Hamas. Now, you want to blame us for that too? I mean, for crying out loud. You want to blame us for conducting a war while we're providing as much humanitarian aid as possible. Hamas is using this propaganda to score points in the international community, and like a social contagion, everybody is picking this up.
Case in point, the New York Times finally admitted the photo of an emaciated child in their front page article on Gaza starvation last Friday actually had a pre-existing medical condition. Even a former Times opinion editor called it, quote, a remarkable deception. But many believe the global headlines demonized Israel. Trump posted that the fastest way to end the humanitarian crisis in Gaza is for Hamas to surrender and release the hostages.
Mr. Witkoff, you're landing now in Israel. Make this visit history.
Relatives of Israeli hostages took to the streets of Jerusalem Thursday. They're depending on Trump, Witkoff, and Netanyahu to make something happen.
Please end this nightmare for all the Israeli people.
This is the most Jewish thing to do. This is the most Christian thing to do. This is the only correct thing to do.
This group has been in staunch opposition to the way Netanyahu has handled the war in Gaza. But now that more countries are joining the UK and France in recognizing a Palestinian state, is forcing them to rethink their position, understanding that it creates a very slippery and dangerous slope.
This is my fear, that this is rewarding them while they are still hostages.
As for Palestine statehood, outspoken Hamas critic and son of its co-founder summed it up by saying, October 7 didn't happen because Palestinians were denied a state. It happened because they were given one.
When you're declaring a Palestinian state while there are still hostages in Gaza, you are saying to all the terror organizations in the world, do you want to have an independent state? Go ahead, enter to a sovereign country, abduct, kill, slaughtered people, burn babies, rape women, and then the entire world will be with you and will declare your new nation. Is this the world we want to live in?
In Jerusalem, Paul Petit, CBN News.
I want to continue our coverage now with our Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell joining us from Jerusalem. So, Chris, what is the response in the Israeli government to this international push for a Palestinian state?
Well, Ephraim, Israel's foreign ministry says it's a reward for Hamas, and it harms the efforts to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza and an ability to free the hostages. Netanyahu, Prime Minister Israeli Netanyahu, he argues the push for a Palestinian state not only rewards Hamas's monstrous terrorism, but in regards to the UK, he warned that a jihadist state on Israel's border today would threaten Britain tomorrow. And Hamas, on the other hand, is applauding these nations. And the questions we've asked before is, who do you want applauding your decision, Israel, Hamas? And one question, Ephraim, many people are asking, how did things get to this place? Which is really simple. Hamas is stealing much of the food and aid coming into Gaza. They create a humanitarian crisis, blame Israel, then use the international media to tell their story. That puts pressure on world leaders. They threaten and pressure Israel to declare a ceasefire and threaten to declare support for a Palestinian state. So what this does, Ephraim, is convince Hamas their strategy works. They stop negotiating and oppose the one group getting free aid to Gazans, which is the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which we've reported on many times, that now has nearly provided 100 meals to the people of Gaza.
Well, I'm glad to see them getting the news coverage they need to get to tell the truth of what's going on.
Yeah.
And that gentleman getting on there with a gentleman from CNN pushed him back.
Yeah.
Gosh, how in the world can you listen to something like that and say that CNN and New York Times has any credibility?
It's astounding that.
How can you trust them?
Right, you can't trust them. And when can we get a media that will again report what's going on rather than shape policy through their slanted views in the way they do report?
For the New York Times to take a child and exploit it.
Oh yeah.
And call it another problem.
Right.
Is inexcusable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, we know CNN only has one thing, and it's called crazy. But Blitz are getting there lectured by somebody from Israel telling them the truth.
Yeah, yes.
I'm glad he had the fortitude to push back.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, here's a guy that's got a lot of fortitude and you just don't know which way it's going to go.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. We move to the weekend with temperatures near seasonal norms, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-80s for Vancouver and Portland, sunny in upper 80s for Wilsonville and McMinnville. Lots of sunshine today as we move down the Willamette Valley with daytime high temperatures near 89 for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with a calm wind becoming north 5 to 7 miles per hour this afternoon. In central Oregon, mostly sunny in upper 80s in Prineville, partly sunny with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in mid-80s for Bend and Sun River, sunny then isolated thunderstorms in low 90s in Boise, Idaho. Patchy fog again this morning along the Oregon coast, then sunny to partly sunny with daytime highs in the low 70s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, upper 50s in Brookings, and near 63 in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, sunny, then a slight chance of thunderstorms with highs in the mid-90s for Grants Pass and Medford and near 89 in Ashland. In the Klamath Basin, a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a high near 87. Into northern California, a slight chance of showers, then thunderstorms in Wairika with a high near 90. Sunny and hot in Redding with a high near 100, near 95 in Chico and 93 in Sacramento. In the Bay Area, early patchy fog, then mostly sunny with highs near 84 in Santa Rosa and near 80 in Napa. Mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the upper 60s. And today in San Jose, becoming sunny in low 80s. It's a snapshot of your Friday weather from Grange Co-op.
There you go. A little sunshine with still shadow of the mountain this morning. And a little haze out there.
Yeah.
It could be heat, could be anything.
Yeah.
So be careful.
Yeah, we might get some thunder bumpers this afternoon, but you know, we're pretty infatuated with the weather. Obviously, I write a lot of weather scripts and record it, and still, the first thing I do in the morning when I get up, we have that list of things that we look at. Well, the first thing I look at every morning is the weather.
Yeah.
We're fascinated with it. But with being hooked on checking out the weather forecast is something that a lot of us have in common. And with that in mind, a milestone took place on this day in weather history.
On August 1st, 1861, British naval officer Robert Fitzroy published the world's first known weather forecast in the Times. His prediction for London, a clear day and 62 degrees, and it was spot on. Fitzroy wasn't just making guesses. He was driven by tragedy. More than 7,000 shipwrecks had occurred near Britain's coast in just 5 years. He believed timely warnings could save lives, and he was right. By 1859, Fitzroy had permission from the British government to issue storm warnings. Using the new electronic telegraph, he sent alerts to newspapers, and soon the public was hooked. Forecasts weren't just for sailors. Event planners, farmers, even gamblers started following them closely. Weather became part of everyday life. And before all this, people watched clouds, animals, even frogs in jars to guess the weather. Thanks to Fitzroy, guessing gave way to science, and we've been forecasting ever since.
I still use a frog in the jar.
Do you?
Yes. It's a high-pressure system moving it.
There you go. No, I've always been fascinated by weather, especially when I was getting my pilot's license.
Yeah, I bet.
We had to go through weather courses the old-fashioned way. Now they got all this satellite stuff, you know. And I think of our good friend, the late Leon Hunsaker, who was so passionate about it. But he understood long-range weather forecasting, which in itself is an art.
Oh,
clearly an art.
Yeah, no doubt.
And he was so accurate. I mean, he was so accurate with it. And he'd write these forecasts. And I remember the Bureau of Reclamation and the Corps down there in California. He said that those levees will break, and he almost gave the day, but he gave the year that they would break.
Yeah.
He was spot on.
Wow.
Yeah, the Corps of Engineers and all those guys.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've been fascinated, but now we got satellite, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, satellite and smartphones. So you can not only get your forecast, but you can get your forecast where your ball team is playing to see if the game's going to be on today.
Well,
I do it all the time.
Let's just keep our priorities straight here.
Well, why not?
I thought you were looking at water flows for fish.
Well, I did.
Okay.
I checked that out too, by the way, last night.
Okay, good boy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of weather, hurricanes cause a lot of damage, and they take out a lot of personal property. And Samaritan's Purse celebrates one of their, they go in. They're like one of the outstanding first responders in the world. And anyway, they went into the Hurricane Helene, and here they are giving somebody their home back.
We are at Mountain City, Tennessee. It's a celebration because we are just finished dedicating the home of Michael and Kim Mitchum.
I went online and I applied, and I got a phone call, and they asked me what I needed, and I told them that all I needed was a tarp.
We do this in Jesus' name because of the surpassing love that he has shown to us. At the end of the day, that's a home, but it's a home that's built with love.
All of the people that we got to meet along the way, I absolutely love them so much, and I know that they love us too. And they're always welcome here. But one of the biggest things, this is a strong house. I love my house, but my husband and my son came back to God. So this process has meant much more than just our home.
The point of all this is to share the love of Christ, which surpasses understanding. You know, even the template that we have set up right now by using volunteers, it really is just incredible to see week to week how God calls the right people at the right time to come here and serve.
I think all of you know how much this really does mean to us and what a difference you have made in our lives.
All throughout the whole process, from September when the hurricane came through, I've never lost faith and I've never lost hope because I knew he would see me through. This has strengthened it even more because I see the people that he sends to us when we need them.
Fantastic.
Boy, could I stop and talk for an hour right there.
Yeah.
I really wish the spirit of the Samaritan's Purse would get into every church in America.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not saying go out and join Samaritan's Purse,
right.
But the spirit of what they do, helping one another, reaching over the fence, even with people you don't like.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to talk to Mark Little about that coming up a little bit later on this morning, Pastor Mark. He doesn't know I've been brewing on this question when I went to bed last night, and I've been brewing on it this morning, and I still don't have the words to the question yet, but I'll come up with it. The Lord will give it to me.
All right, can't wait.
And he doesn't know that I'm going to squeeze his pastor's heart. With both hands.
I can't wait. All right.
We'll be right back.
Since 1983, over 21,000 interviews. It's quite a feat by one person. The Dove's Perry Atkinson. Tap into his experience and knowledge right here, only on the Dove TV.
Big ideas grow.
Mornings on the Dove is unlike anything you'll experience. Not only will we fulfill our goal to bring you encouragement, but we'll also fulfill our goal in bringing you information that you need.
I think the biggest thing that we are hoping to accomplish in the morning show and bring to the viewers is hope. As we look at the events that are swirling around us, seemingly at times are way beyond our control, we look to the hope that we have in Jesus Christ and what he has given for us.
We select the top stories. We try to make you informed so you're a good citizen to start your day, but most of all to give you the encouragement so that you can have a good day and a happy day.
We seem to have a lot of fun on camera because we are having a lot of fun on camera. We have a great rapport. We go back and forth. Perry's like one of the funniest guys I've ever seen.
Wake up to hope. Watch Mornings on the Dove. Weekdays only on the Dove TV. Washington Watch with Tony Perkins. Every weeknight covering current events, issues of faith, family, and freedom. Tony is president of the FRC and your leading source for what's really happening in our nation's capital. Weeknights on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. 8 minutes before the hour. Of course, the story of the century is Russiagate continues to boil out there, and it's in various levels these days. But one of the most interesting things that occurred was Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, is kind of snooping around the office, I guess. Finds this closet full of classified information that was headed towards the shredder. They call them burn bags, okay? And I'm paraphrasing, I mean, being a little cavalier here, but it's serious stuff. I mean, you know, you got all this classified information sitting in a room. Why didn't it get shredded? Why is it just sitting there? Anyway, I had Mark Tapson on. He's kind of a scholar in this area. Here's what he had to say.
There are what are called burn bags lying around in the White House. It sounds like something I might have at my house, maybe, but not at the White House. Yeah, these declassified documents, I mean, for any of your listeners who may not be caught up with all this, a week or so ago, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, released, initially anyway, 114 pages of declassified documents from the intelligence community, proving beyond a doubt the existence of manufactured and politicized intelligence on the Russia hoax of 2016. She said, she alleged that former President Barack Obama directed what she called a treasonous conspiracy against the duly elected President Trump. And she correctly called it an egregious abuse of power and a blatant rejection of our Constitution. Now, this came as no surprise to conservatives who had known all along that the Russia collusion hoax was exactly that, a hoax. But it's been pretty eye-opening, maybe even shocking to some people, to learn that there is documented evidence that this was all at the instigation of Barack Obama himself, and that a who's who of the deep state was fully complicit in this. And Tulsi Gabbard has since presented those findings to the Department of Justice for investigation, and she is referring Obama for prosecution for treason. So it is a pretty big deal.
Okay, I don't know if that's going to happen, but the only thing I can say is a little bit of correction there. When he said the White House,
right? FBI.
It's FBI.
Yeah.
So he was referring to there. But the point being is that these bags were found and discovered, and they're loaded with more information.
Yeah.
And the question is, why is classified information heading to the shredder?
Well, yeah. Well, you can also ask, why are there
especially
boxes
before the statute of limitations?
Why are there boxes of presidential records being stored in a garage next to a Corvette? I mean, it seems footloose and fancy-free in some of the approach here.
No, that's the exception now.
What?
Don't touch Joe's car.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. We're not going to make it.
Oh, we are? Oh.
Are we?
Yes, we are. Watch this.
Okay.
I got a wildlife encounter video. Yesterday was a dolphin. Today, it's an alligator.
Ooh.
While vacationing in Kissimmee, Florida, Sarah Louise Martin from Gravesend, UK, was enjoying a peaceful morning and filming a small alligator near a group of deer. But what started as a calm wildlife moment quickly turned into a hilarious twist of fate. In the now viral video, Martin greets viewers and points out the gator. But then her neighbor, apparently not thrilled with the scaly visitor, decides to take matters into her own hands. She tosses her shoes in the gator's direction, hoping to scare it off. It almost worked, but after the gator had turned away, she tossed her shoes a second time. That's when the gator delivered a dose of hilarious revenge. He grabs one of the shoes in his mouth and casually takes it with him back into the pond.
Oops. Keep your shoes on, lady.
Did you see where the picture of the gator coming up over the shore like this, and the caption says, "I'm reporting for duty at the island"?
At Alligator Island? Oh, golly.
Okay. Anyway, John 3:16, it is the verse, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life." That includes you and all the people you don't like.
From top home sellers in the Valley with John L. Scott.
To making RV consignment effortless.
American RV, where Team Toner gets your RV sold fast.
Where big ideas grow.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
Life is complicated enough. Why worry about what to do with your extra car? Skip the costs of maintaining it, storing it, insuring it, or renewing registration. Car repairs? Forget about it. Here's one easy solution to your car problem. Donate it to our station. It's fast, free, tax deductible, and if you donate, you're going to feel incredible knowing you're supporting quality programming. Interested? Just call this toll-free number or donate online. Thank you.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
We have a divine obligation to teach our children the truth of God's Word so that they'll be equipped to face life and understand that they are children of God. He has a will for their life, a plan for their life, and it's the parents' responsibility to introduce them to the Lord. And every following generation has the same responsibility. We have a responsibility to teach our sons and daughters. Our sons and daughters have the responsibility to teach their sons and daughters. And they have the responsibility to teach their sons and daughters. And no place in the Bible does it say we can have a generation gap when it comes to teaching the Word of God.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
You're watching the Dove TV, encouraging and informative for Boise and the Treasure Valley. Seen on KTVJ3 and these Dove TV affiliates.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Mickey Mouse Club right here on Mornings on the Dove. There's Mickey.
Good morning.
A lot going on in the news. There always is. We'll get that to you. It is Friday. We are pretty excited about that. And here in our own backyard, the temperatures continue to gradually go down. Huffed and puffed last night, but no activity, no
we were
rain.
Fortunate, yes.
I don't know if any fire started, but there was lightning and thunder, but nothing else.
We have a chance of it again today, but I think we kind of lucked out yesterday a little bit.
All right, good stuff all the way around. All right, good morning to you. A lot of news. We'll get that to you here in just a moment. What's up?
Well, it is National Fifth Commandment Day.
Oh, do not.
It is proclaimed by me. It wasn't proclaimed by anybody else, or respect for parents.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so honor your father and your mother. Respect your parents.
Okay.
Whichever way your faith is walking, do it as the Lord points out. Honor them. It's created as a reminder that parents deserve your respect, and if you don't believe it, wait till you're one.
Oh boy.
Yeah, moving on. It is, we talk about, donor programs and the fact that there are a lot of folks who are on donor waiting lists. And we encourage people to, sign up, become an organ donor. And apparently there's a specific need in minority communities because today is Minority Donor Awareness Day. And they say that within the African American, Asian, Hispanic, Native American, and Pacific Islander American communities, there is a serious shortage of transplants. So you may want to consider that.
That provokes a question.
What?
Does ethnicity have anything to do with the transplant?
I don't know. That's a very good question. You need to do a focus segment with a doctor who can talk about compatibility.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if blood types have to do with it or
everybody's
genetic backgrounds. Yeah, and we all bleed red, you're right. But there are some genetic differences between us. So I don't know how it plays out. I'm not a doctor. I just play in a doctor's assistant every morning.
Oh, do you? Isn't it interesting that after you had something, done,
yeah,
Like, well, in your case, you had a
Right,
broken leg.
yeah, I'm an expert on it.
Well, see, that's my point.
Yes.
So whatever you've gone through, now you have a PhD in it.
Right. Yeah. It's funny, and
Which
you
is
have
pile high and deeper.
And you're right, and you have conversations with your physical therapist about what's going on, and you participated in it like you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you really have an inkling.
Yeah, you come back out, and then you bump into somebody or you talk to somebody that kind of has what you had.
Right.
But now you're the pro, and you tell them what to do. You just became an MD.
Oh yeah, especially when they say, I got a couple screws in my surgery. I go, let me tell you something.
Yeah, well, let me
How
tell
about
you.
14?
I'll tell you what.
Good point.
Well, I don't know. I've been kind of zeroing in on human nature, especially it relates to conversation.
Okay.
There's some patterns out there that are fun to watch.
Yes, yeah. It is, and when you come upon one of those that you don't agree with, have fun with it. Throw a water balloon at it. It's National Water Balloon Day. Wow. Fill it up. You know what? That can be lots of fun. But enjoy it. Yeah. And you got to be careful. They even have those things now where they have multiple balloon fill-ups. They have these devices now where there'll be like 50 or 100 balloons on it, and you fasten it to your faucet and you turn it on, and it fills all of them at the same time.
Oh, that's just flat out war.
That is war. That is war. All right. It is also, and I like this. I got to say this right. Ladies, it's National Girlfriends Day. So get your girlfriends and get together. Pam's getting mad at me right now. Pam's like, you knock it off, Jerry.
Girly things.
You stop that. Yeah, and in fact, when Pam gets together with her girlfriends, they don't even want me in the room.
Yeah.
In fact, it's better if I'm not even in the house.
Well, Peggy has, she was one of 5 girls.
Oh, that's right.
So when those sisters get together, you just might as well go to another country.
Yeah, well, you know what? I got to say, I do agree with Pam and the girls when they come over. It's better for me to leave because I might be part of their conversation.
You are anyway.
I don't want to hear it. Yeah. Anyway, it's nice to have something to eat. We have one thing. It's kind of desserty, National Raspberry Cream Pie Day. And again, celebrating the season of the raspberry. Okay. It is in season right now. Yeah. And a little bit tart. You can add a little sugar to it, right? Okay, yeah. But they're very healthy.
Yeah, healthy. I like the word healthy.
Yeah, healthy. They have antioxidants in it, all kinds of good stuff, but they taste good as well. Containing B1, B3, folic acid, magnesium, copper, and iron. And they taste good. Yeah, it's real good. Okay, one last thing. When you look at the pay scale and you think people, working in the movies make lots of money, well, in days gone by, maybe not so much because Toto, we all know Toto. Toto was the one of the stars of The Wizard of Oz, and your little dog Toto, too. Remember that one? Well, anyway, Toto was paid $125 a week while filming The Wizard of Oz. That was the 1939 Wizard of Oz. And Toto was played by a brindle Cairn Terrier named Terry. And as I said, she was paid $125 a week, which was more than some of the human actors, especially the dwarf actors who played the Munchkins. They only received $50 to $100 a week.
Really?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but when was this film made originally?
This is like 38. Yeah, so unions have come and gotten involved now. I doubt that Terry would be making more than people, but we're looking at the production here, and it is just rich. It's been a while since I've seen it, and you know what? I think I need to see it again.
Yeah,
it is time.
It's a classic.
It is.
And when they added color to it, it just.
Well,
the Yellow Brick Road just bounced.
When they opened up, when she landed in Oz and went from black and white, opened up that front door, I didn't know it for years because we watched it on black and white TV at home, and later I was like, "Wow, check this out!
Yeah.
It's brilliant." Yep. So anyway,
that's good.
Yep.
All right, good stuff all the way. Well, he is the Wizard of Weather, right here on the Dove.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. We move to the weekend with temperatures near seasonal norms, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-80s for Vancouver and Portland, sunny and upper 80s for Wilsonville and McMinnville. Lots of sunshine today as we move down the Willamette Valley with daytime high temperatures near 89 for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with a calm wind becoming north 5 to 7 miles per hour this afternoon. In central Oregon, mostly sunny and upper 80s in Prineville, partly sunny with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in mid-80s for Bend and Sun River, sunny then isolated thunderstorms in low 90s in Boise, Idaho. Patchy fog again this morning along the Oregon coast, then sunny to partly sunny with daytime highs in the low 70s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, upper 50s in Brookings, and near 63 in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, sunny, then a slight chance of thunderstorms with highs in the mid-90s for Grants Pass and Medford and near 89 in Ashland. In the Klamath Basin, a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a high near 87. Into northern California, a slight chance of showers, then thunderstorms in Wairika with a high near 90. Sunny and hot in Redding with a high near 100, near 95 in Chico and 93 in Sacramento. In the Bay Area, early patchy fog, then mostly sunny with highs near 84 in Santa Rosa and near 80 in Napa. Mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the upper 60s. And today in San Jose, becoming sunny in low 80s. It's a snapshot of your Friday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, beautiful shot of our backyard, better known as the Rogue Valley, and sunny, a few clouds around the edges, so we'll see how it goes. But be careful, even though the temperature is dropping, the makings of thunderstorms certainly is the case.
Well, here is a message you could preach, but we have it from the Reverend Billy Graham. He's talking about flying blind. Are you seeing where you're going? Well, Billy Graham says you need to trust your instruments.
Last December, an 18-year-old student pilot named Kim was making a solo flight cross-country when she became lost in a storm. She couldn't see anything out the windshield of her small plane. She didn't know where she was or how to get out of the storm and back to the safety. Something had gone wrong with one of her instruments. So she reached for her radio and made contact with a local air traffic controller, and she said, "I don't know where I am. I need some help, please help me." The controller located her on his radar screen and began talking her down toward a nearby airport where the weather was good. She couldn't see a thing, but he could see her on the radar. He knew where she was, which direction she was headed, where she needed to go, and the best way to get there. She trusted her life to a man she had never seen and whose name she did not know, and he got her out of the storm and safely to ground. Tonight, you can trust in the Lord Jesus Christ. You've never seen him with your naked eye. You may not know him, but he's there waiting for you with open arms to help you. So I'm asking you to quit flying blind. Trust yourself to Jesus Christ. Follow the guidance of his instruments, which is the Word of God, the Bible.
Yeah, it's an illustration that few experience in actual conditions.
Yeah,
and
true.
I have done that, and the only thing I can say is that you learn to believe your instruments and not your feelings, and every pilot that goes with their feelings comes out of the clouds upside down.
Wow.
It's called vertigo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And you don't know what it is until you experience it, but it's real.
Right.
All right, good morning to you. Let's take a look at some of the top stories. And the president, today is August 1st. And so that means the nations that didn't make a deal with the president are getting increased tariffs across the board. He's sticking to his guns. But there is a deal that he made yesterday afternoon late with South Korea. That's right. South Korea is to invest $350 billion into the United States to lead a massive shipbuilding project as part of the trade deal. And their tariffs went from 25% down to 15%. Okay? So their tariffs went down. And the South Koreans, are going to invest $350 billion in making ships in America.
Wow.
So what the president's doing with all this stuff, he's making America the #1 marketplace by bringing all this manufacturing back into the United States. This will go down in history as just absolutely stunning. The president also now, because yesterday was their first, and he gave all these other countries until today to make a deal. He did go to our neighbor to the north, Canada, and Prime Minister Carney, who's having a tough day. He increased it from 25% to 35% for Canada. There's two reasons for this. Reason number one is he's putting the pressure on Canada to stop the drug flow across the border.
Yeah.
Primarily fentanyl. And the only thing you have to do about fentanyl is trace it. And guess where it comes from?
Oh, yeah.
It comes from China.
Yeah.
And China's very good at getting fentanyl into the United States from the north and from the south. And the other reason is that Prime Minister Carney, who's a globalist, has now wanted to, he's embarrassed, I shouldn't say embarrassed, he's put a lot of pressure on the president to go with a two-state solution in Gaza, and the president said no.
Yeah.
So Canada is getting a tariff today from 25% to 35%.
It's interesting because through a conversation in Mexico, they have been given another 90-day grace period on this to come to negotiated settlement. It seems as though the leaders of Canada and the United States are not really on very good terms right now. There seems to be some animosity. Do you have any insight into this? They don't seem to get along. Trump and Carney.
Well, listen, you have a globalist and you have a capitalist. What do you do with that?
Yeah, what do you do with
That's like the black wire and the white wire. You put them together, you're going to get sparks.
All right, I like
simple.
it. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Okay.
White, black, huh? And so,
all right.
No, they're not on the same page.
No.
And, as far as Mexico's concerned, I don't know. I'm just going to guess one reason why he's giving Mexico a chance to get their act together. Most of the American automakers went south.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think he's trying his best to get it back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of our cars being made in Mexico.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I don't know if that's the driving force. But
I don't know.
So the other thing is, the president's been a hawk when it comes to balancing the national budget. And, you have to spend money to lose money. I don't know. But he certainly knows how to read a P&L and a balance sheet. So what he's doing here is, as you know, he's been cutting the government workforce down, cutting a lot of fat out. And so as of yesterday, the report came out, roughly 154,000 what they call civilian federal workers took the buyout that the president offered.
Wow.
154,000.
Wow.
That's 6.7% of the civilian federal workforce took the buyout. Now, the people who are higher up in the echelons of management, which is basically a nice way of saying bureaucracy, just tried their best to get moved to other agencies to stay alive within the government.
Okay.
But when you reduce the workforce by 6.7% at 154,000 people, that's quite a number.
Yes, it is. Wow.
Wow. There you go.
All right.
All right. What are we doing here? Oh, we're going to take a raspberry break.
Yes,
we'll be right back.
All right.
And every beat of my heart keeps reminding me I see you in every little thing all day. No matter where I go, I know your love is fine.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian owned and operated, pet friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
Have you seen Mornings on the Dove?
They're trying to track down What and how did the auto pen of former President Joe Biden was used? And did the president ever give the order? This is serious stuff. The legacy media reporting the bombing in Iran was low effect. The sites were obliterated. They were gone. You got to ask yourself the question, why are you doing this?
News with a little bit of common sense. Mornings on the Dove, weekdays 6 to 8 a.m.
Good morning. Happy Friday. We like these days. Good morning to you. 18 minutes past the hour. Some regional news, primarily state news here up at Portland. And I just can't say enough about this beautiful city. I really do hope and pray that they slowly kind of get this city restored to its beauty. It's a beautiful city. And it was just so poorly managed, and so many bad things have happened, and the homeless and everything else, and the crime, and wow, you know. So anyway, the president's squeeze seems to be working. The newly elected Portland mayor, Keith Wilson, has ordered the city bureaus to change the wording for the city programs that benefit minority groups to comply with President Trump's anti-DEI directives. This means that the city programs and services cannot give preferences to groups with protected class status based on characteristics such as race or gender. Now, why? Because if they don't comply with the federal DEI, they don't get the federal grants. And for the city of Portland, that would mean roughly $350 million in grants, which is about 4% of their budget.
Oh, wow.
So it's working. It's working. And so we'll see where this goes, but the mayor is acquiescing to the president.
Sounds like it, yep.
Okay. In the meantime, our own backyard, Southern Oregon University, is a little bit struggling with its budget. It has a budget of $71 million a year. They want to cut that down to $60 million a year, according to President Rick Bailey. I haven't met the new president. I understand he's really a great guy, and I haven't met him yet. I've always had good relationships with the administration at the university, and I look forward to meeting him. Anyway, he's doing the right thing. He wants to. He's obviously smart. He knows what he's doing. And guess what?
What?
He's leading by example. He's going to take a 20% pay cut himself to lead the way, which is about $53,000 a year. He's cutting out of his salary to help with this, to bring the budget from 71 back to 60. And a lot of this has to do with the new policies about, you know, grants for students and some of the federal grants that come from here in the state. If the state can't get it from the feds, they can't give it to the universities, you know, the money chain. So his goal is to cut that overhead down, and he's doing it by example. That is called leadership. And I want to say thank you, President Bailey, for leading the way by example, because that's the way things get done. God bless you, friend. All right, let's take a look at Wall Street for this Friday morning. And thank you, Preston, at Smart Lawn. If you're smart, you'll get his lawn. Anyway, the Dow is down 776 points. Why? Because the employment numbers came out and they were below expected. The NAS is off 541 and the S&P down 124. This is all because the labor reports came out and it was lower than expected. And guess who's to blame for this? Can you say Mr. Powell for not lowering the interest rate? That shot gold up to 33.94. Silver's back up to almost 37. And look what it did to crude oil. Dropped it down to about $69.45. That's still high, but it dropped it down a couple of bucks. So this is the number came out about 2 hours ago. I was watching this, waiting to see what it was going to do to the market. But all the expectations, it's way off. The employment numbers are below what they were expecting. And it's a direct reflection on not lowering interest rates. And you can imagine today's, if you're going to watch the news, I have to tell you, though, I do this little thing to find out news consumption. There's a lot of data out there. You know, one of the lowest news consumption day is?
What?
Fridays.
Really?
Yeah.
That's why you get all these news dumps.
That's why you get all the big stories on Friday, because they buried it through the weekend. So anyway,
yeah,
I can't help but think the president's going to come out somewhere today and wail on this because this is putting the finger right at Powell.
Oh, yes.
Right at Powell for not
I
loading
think so.
Oh, boy.
Well, it was interesting. On Wednesday, Nancy Pelosi was on CNN being interviewed by Jake Tapper. And she was talking about the subject that they had invited her on to talk about, and he kind of changed up on her, and he asked her about insider trading for members of Congress. And she did not like it. She pushed back. She was upset. And he kept saying, well, people want to know. And she goes, I didn't agree to talk about this. This is not what I came on here to talk about. Yeah, well, the more she talked, the guiltier she looked. But Carolyn Levitt answers a question about stock trading in the government and how Nancy Pelosi has had enormous increases in wealth.
As the president said in the Roosevelt Room yesterday, conceptually, he of course supports the idea of ensuring that members of Congress and United States senators who are here for public service cannot enrich themselves. And the reason that this idea to put a ban on stock trading for members of Congress is even a thing is because of Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she is rightfully criticized because she makes, I think, $174,000 a year, yet she has a net worth of approximately $413 million. In 2024, Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio, this was a fascinating statistic to me, grew 70% in 1 year in 2024, and her portfolio outperformed every single large hedge fund in that same year and even more than doubled the returns of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. So I think the president stands with the American people on this. He doesn't want to see people like Nancy Pelosi enriching themselves off of public service and ripping off their constituents in the process. As for the mechanics of the legislation and how it will move forward, the White House continues to be in discussions with our friends on Capitol Hill.
Whoa, she did 200% better than Warren Buffett. Whoa.
What does that tell you?
Oh, that tells me a lot.
Well, look, this has to be looked at. Senator Rand Paul's take on it's a little bit different. So somewhere between the two, I think they have to come up. And this is inside information. This is about as illegal as it comes, but nothing is done about
Exactly.
it. You're going to get a tip that nobody else is going to get one to buy and sell.
Yes.
That's illegal.
Yeah.
And so, but, not according. I guess if you're a member of Congress, you're exempt from everything.
Well, yeah, you're exempt from Social Security. You're exempt from your, our health plan. There's a lot of cushy things they get. Yeah.
One other quick thing here. I just want to make a note. Okay. Have you read the story of Caroline Levitt?
No. What?
It is absolutely fascinating. She is the youngest press secretary we've ever had.
Okay.
And when you look at her background and her experience and her performance in front of that podium every day, it's staggering.
She's solid, yeah.
I've never seen somebody that comes out that can speak in complete sentences, edited in such a way she makes a point and goes right on to the next deal.
And she's not reading verbatim her notes. Remember the last press secretary? She couldn't get it. Yeah.
Looking from a binder from one thing.
Nose never up, always down in the notes. Yep.
This gal's really got a future.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, really good stuff. All right, what did I say that all for? Well, it's
because it's true. Yeah,
it's true. It's Friday.
Yeah,
a low news day.
You don't have to know how to. Ever since grace God you left, till your whole side's hurt and smile, like you just got away with something. Why? 'Cause you just got away with something.
Co-op, where big ideas grow.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
a ministry moment on the Dove.
Now notice when Jesus called his disciples, he never hid from them the fact that to follow him meant suffering, persecution, and death. We have a great deal of what someone has called cheap grace. Easy to follow Christ. Easy to get in the church. In Jesus' day, he called them to suffering. He didn't call them to a playground. He called them to a battlefield. He called them to war, spiritual war. And he said, you're going to suffer, and you're going to be wounded, and you're going to die in my cause, because the world is going to reject me. This world that's dominated by evil and sin will reject me.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Okay, good morning to you. Well, the pressure in the Middle East continues to mount. Have you noticed something, folks? Since the, well, of course, October 7th, and here we are 2 years later, and all this going on, and then Hamas and Gaza, and then you got Syria raising its ugly head, and then you got Hezbollah, and then you got the Houthis, and then all of a sudden the bombing of the nuclear facility enrichment centers in Iran. Yeah. And then things kind of calmed down, and there was a ceasefire here, and talks here, and all this. And here we are several months later, and the whole thing is starting up again. Yeah. It's raised its ugly head again. Yeah. And what do? Let's go for ceasefires. Okay? I don't understand this. And even the president has sent an envoy back over to Israel to see if they can create a peacefire. And of course, the motive over there is to get the hostages out. I understand that. Yeah. But this is the ultimate standoff. And I don't know where this goes. In the meantime, it looks like Iran is reloading, Houthis, and then you got Syria. And, oh, gosh, what a mess. And the whole thing started all over again. Yeah. And so let's check in with CBN Newswatch and see what's going on.
This is CBN Newswatch.
Thank you so much for joining us for CBN Newswatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Today is Friday, the first day of August. We're going to begin this half hour in the Middle East, where President Trump's envoy arrived in Israel Thursday, and it could not come soon enough, some say. Now, as more countries are jumping on the bandwagon to recognize a Palestinian state if Israel does not quickly end the war in Gaza. And Steve Witkoff's visit is expected to focus on humanitarian aid and brokering a clear path to a ceasefire. CBN's Paul Petit has more now in our top story from Jerusalem.
U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff arrived in Israel as international pressure on Israel over the war against Hamas in Gaza is increasing. This week, a wave of countries announced it would recognize a Palestinian state if the war doesn't come to an end soon. Canada followed France and the UK in making the moves. Germany is holding off for now, but Palestinians are encouraged by what they're seeing so far.
Regarding Canada's recognition, for me, this is an achievement for us because all the countries have started. France was the first, then Canada and Spain. It's clear that we have reached a broader understanding of the Palestinian cause.
But Israel doesn't see it that way. Witkoff met with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem on Thursday and is touring Gaza with U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee today to inspect distribution of aid. Delivering more food to Gaza is their first order of business. President Trump tells NBC News that good management will prevent Hamas from stealing the aid. Israel is facing mounting pressure along with claims of deliberate starvation. Israel's ambassador to the U.S. is blasting those accusations.
In the month of June, 2,134 trucks were sent into Gaza. Only 260 arrived at their destination. That means 90% was diverted by Hamas. Now, you want to blame us for that too? I mean, for crying out loud. You want to blame us for conducting a war while we're providing as much humanitarian aid as possible. Hamas is using this propaganda to score points in the international community, and like a social contagion, everybody is picking this up.
Case in point, the New York Times finally admitted the photo of an emaciated child in their front page article on Gaza starvation last Friday actually had a pre-existing medical condition. Even a former Times opinion editor called it, quote, a remarkable deception. But many believe the global headlines demonized Israel. Trump posted that the fastest way to end the humanitarian crisis in Gaza is for Hamas to surrender and release the hostages.
Mr. Witkoff, you're landing now in Israel. Make this visit history.
Relatives of Israeli hostages took to the streets of Jerusalem Thursday. They're depending on Trump, Witkoff, and Netanyahu to make something happen.
Please end this nightmare for all the Israeli people.
This is the most Jewish thing to do. This is the most Christian thing to do. This is the only correct thing to do.
This group has been in staunch opposition to the way Netanyahu has handled the war in Gaza. But now that more countries are joining the UK and France in recognizing a Palestinian state, it's forcing them to rethink their position, understanding that it creates a very slippery and dangerous slope.
This is my fear, that this is rewarding them while they are still hostages.
As for Palestine statehood, outspoken Hamas critic and son of its co-founder summed it up by saying, October 7 didn't happen because Palestinians were denied a state. It happened because they were given one.
When you're declaring a Palestinian state while there are still hostages in Gaza, you are saying to all the terror organizations in the world, do you want to have an independent state? Go ahead, enter to a sovereign country, abduct, kill, slaughtered people, burn babies, rape women, and then the entire world will be with you and will declare your new nation. Is this the world we want to live in?
In Jerusalem, Paul Petit, CBN News.
I want to continue our coverage now with our Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell joining us from Jerusalem. So, Chris, what is the response in the Israeli government to this international push for a Palestinian state?
Well, Ephraim, Israel's foreign ministry says it's a reward for Hamas, and it harms the efforts to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza and an ability to free the hostages. Netanyahu, Prime Minister Israeli Netanyahu, he argues the push for a Palestinian state not only rewards Hamas's monstrous terrorism, but in regards to the UK, he warned that a jihadist state on Israel's border today would threaten Britain tomorrow. And Hamas, on the other hand, is applauding these nations. And the questions we've asked before is, who do you want applauding your decision, Israel, Hamas? And one question, Ephraim, many people are asking, how did things get to this place? Which is really simple. Hamas is stealing much of the food and aid coming into Gaza. They create a humanitarian crisis, blame Israel, then use the international media to tell their story. That puts pressure on world leaders. They threaten and pressure Israel to declare a ceasefire and threaten to declare support for a Palestinian state. So what this does, Ephraim, is convince Hamas their strategy works. They stop negotiating and oppose the one group getting free aid to Gazans, which is the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which we've reported on many times, that now has nearly provided 100 meals to the people of Gaza.
Well, it was played out exactly the way that Chris mentioned it on CNN the other day, where the Israeli representative told, Wolf Blitzer, you're just flat wrong. Right. 90% of that stuff that we take in there and sending in is being hijacked by Hamas. Yeah. It's pretty amazing, But I think the world, we sit in here and we do our commentary and things like that. I think the world is becoming by far more informed than we give it credit for. And you can look at it in several ways. One is the rise of streaming and podcasts and those things, people just going elsewhere. And secondly is you can watch the ratings of the legacy media just slowly die. And then they continue to discredit themselves, especially the New York Times and CNN, for publishing bogus stories that they have to come back and do a retraction on. Why'd you do it in the first place?
Or get sued on it.
And Wall Street Journal. I mean, it's why are you guys doing this? Gosh, it's just so amazing. It's obviously you're not in it for journalism.
Yeah. I don't get it.
Excuse me, that was a rant.
Yeah, just a little.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah, there's some fruit out there. Did you see it?
Help your blood sugar.
Okay. Mention right outside that door over there.
Oh, I know.
Well, night before last, I'm leaving here, and we're doing some remodel,
Yeah.
And so the contractor cut a hole in the wall, and he put a piece of plywood up there.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ready to leave for the day, and I go out on the plywood fell off.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, oh, gosh, what am I going to do? So I'm out there trying to figure out how to screw this thing back on the wall.
Okay.
And as I'm out there, here comes not one, not two, not three, 6 helicopters come and land right outside the door there. And they were chasing, they were running away from a hailstorm.
Oh, that's
up in the
right.
hills.
Oh, yeah.
They were over here fighting fires, and they had to get out of there. So they came over. I thought, oh, boy. And so they're putting him in, and I go, oh, my stars. Are these our new neighbors?
Oh, guess what?
And guess what?
They're rolling them out right now.
They're rolling them out right now.
This minute.
Did you hear that? 2 of them taken off. 3 already left.
Yes.
Wow. Listen. That's just the way it is around here, folks.
But they won't be returning with hail falling on them, will they?
I hope not.
Let's take a look.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Let's go to the Wizard of Weather here.
A look at our weather from Grange Co-op. We move to the weekend with temperatures near seasonal norms, so today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-80s for Vancouver and Portland, sunny in upper 80s for Wilsonville and McMinnville. Lots of sunshine today as we move down the Willamette Valley with daytime high temperatures near 89 for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with a calm wind becoming north 5 to 7 miles per hour this afternoon. In central Oregon, mostly sunny in upper 80s in Prineville, partly sunny with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in mid-80s for Bend and Sun River, sunny then isolated thunderstorms in low 90s in Boise, Idaho. Patchy fog again this morning along the Oregon coast, then sunny to partly sunny with daytime highs in the low 70s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, upper 50s in Brookings, and near 63 in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, sunny, then a slight chance of thunderstorms with highs in the mid-90s for Grants Pass and Medford and near 89 in Ashland. In the Klamath Basin, a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a high near 87. Into northern California, a slight chance of showers, then thunderstorms in Wairika with a high near 90. Sunny and hot in Redding with a high near 100, near 95 in Chico and 93 in Sacramento. In the Bay Area, early patchy fog, then mostly sunny with highs near 84 in Santa Rosa and near 80 in Napa. Mostly sunny in San Francisco with a high in the upper 60s. And today in San Jose, becoming sunny in low 80s. It's a snapshot of your Friday weather from Grange Co-op.
All right, beautiful shot of southern Oregon right there from east to west, and I'm going to guess that's about a 280-degree shot there.
I think you're right.
And if you keep that shot there for about another 2 or 3 minutes, don't do it, but you'll see. You're going to see a helicopter. Because that's looking right at the airport.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are pretty much hooked on checking the weather. It is the first thing that many of us do when we get up in the morning. Well, with that in mind, a milestone took place on this day in weather history.
On August 1st, 1861, British naval officer Robert Fitzroy published the world's first known weather forecast in the Times. His prediction for London? A clear day and 62 degrees, and it was spot on. Fitzroy wasn't just making guesses, he was driven by tragedy. More than 7,000 shipwrecks had occurred near Britain's coast in just 5 years. He believed timely warnings could save lives, and he was right. By 1859, Fitzroy had permission from the British government to issue storm warnings. Using the new electronic telegraph, he sent alerts to newspapers, and soon the public was hooked. Forecasts weren't just for sailors. Event planners, farmers, even gamblers started following them closely. Weather became part of everyday life. And before all this, people watched clouds, animals, even frogs in jars to guess the weather. Thanks to Fitzroy, guessing gave way to science, and we've been forecasting ever since.
Sometimes people even paid attention to arthritis. You know, my arthritis kind of kicks up when the front is moving in.
What about the goats on the side of the hill up there in Oregon? Remember that?
Yes, I do.
So that when the goats went up the hill, how far they went up and how far they came down, they could predict the weather.
Yeah, you think Leon ever did any of those things?
Well, he made fun of the goats, but he also believed in them a little bit.
Did he really?
But Leon was one of the great long-range weather forecasters. Now, when I was, I learned weather a little bit when I was a pilot, but you know, when I started working for KCRA Radio and TV in Sacramento years ago, I got to know a gentleman by the name of Harry Geis, and Harry Geis was one of the most proficient and accurate long-range weather forecasters. And he was the meteorologist on KCRA Channel 3 for years.
Okay.
But he had a side business of doing long-range weather forecasting.
Oh.
And construction and government would buy his long-range weather forecasting years in advance.
No kidding.
And he made millions of dollars doing it.
Kidding.
My uncle, who was a freeway contractor, would buy his weather report as to when they could pour concrete.
No kidding.
Because of temperature.
Right.
He was accurate. And this was before all this satellite stuff that we got now.
Really?
But he studied the jet streams.
Okay.
So, kind of like Leon did.
Yeah.
Remember, Leon had a company called Jetstream Weather.
That's right. And he had that, like, British Connection thing.
Oh, the British Connection.
Oh, my goodness.
It still works.
Really?
The British Connection is what's happening over England right now. They're on the same parallel as Oregon.
Okay.
A form of that weather in 10 days will be off the Oregon coast.
Okay.
And he was able to figure it out.
Wow.
It's called the English Connection.
So I wonder how it is over there today.
I don't know.
Maybe I should expand that into my forecast.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I don't think so.
We're still getting amazing reports from the devastating floods there in Texas. And, of course, the Mystic Camp was where the young girls were. Well, there was a survivor, and her name was Skylar Darrington, and she was on Fox and Friends, and she performed her rendition of Hallelujah as a result of her rescue. And here is a little of that.
So I wrote it in honor of all of the girls at our camp, for those that we just lost, to honor them and to remember that, God has a plan for all of us. And even though that rough stuff can happen sometimes, that doesn't normally happen. And there was no blame or fault. And it was just a purpose to tell and honor them and just to sing and remind people what have happened. I heard there was a giant flood, but we were washed in Jesus' blood. And you don't really care for my news, do ya? On July the 4th, 2025, the water rose and we went adrift. The baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Our faith was strong, you showed us love like only God from up above. Your prayers, your hugs, and your love overwhelmed us. We cried, we prayed, we did our share. You clothed us, fed us, brushed our hair, and from our lips we drew the hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. They say the water overcame, but I will never forget their names. No blame, no fault, so really what's it to ya? We are a part of Mystic Herd. We spread His light, His love, His word, the holy and the broken. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. We did our best, we left a mark, a light that shines within the dark. I told His truth, I didn't come to fool ya. And even though it wasn't long, we stand before the Lord of songs with nothing on our tongue but hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Wow, that's a 12-year-old voice. Wow. Wow.
Wow. Such faith. All right, we'll be right back.
Can you feel it? It's the rhythm of a gospel song. Oh, won't you choose it?
At Kelly's Automotive Service,
being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us
is at the core of our business.
We believe what we do matters.
Every interaction, every transaction is another opportunity
to bring Christ's values into the marketplace.
If you're a technician who wants to be part of something bigger,
or just looking for a new shop to bring your vehicle,
we would love to meet you.
We're Kelly's Automotive Service,
where we service your vehicle,
but take care of you.
Finding that next great series to binge watch is fun, but your neck, shoulders, and body don't count that as me time. Hi, I'm Tamara Miller, owner of Organic Element Spa, and I invite you to put down the remote, get off the couch, and schedule yourself some real me or we time with your favorite service, like one of our many massages, couples massages, or facials. Your health, safety, and comfort are always top priority with us at Organic Element Spa. We can't wait to see you. Book your appointment today.
Spring is around the corner and summer is on its way. With fire danger biting at its heels, flammable blackberries and underbrush will grow like gangbusters and sprout fire danger in no time. A wise property owner knows the best time to take care of fire danger is to extinguish it before it gets started. GMV Forestry LLC can help you protect your property with adequate fire brush clearing to fireproof a zone around your precious property. With over 35 years experience, GMV Forestry LLC has the knowledge, experience, and all the equipment you need to get the job done right, offering a wide variety of services like mulching, field mowing, snow removal, driveway clearing, ditch cleaning, gravel delivery and spreading, driveway sweeping, logging, and more. GMV Forestry LLC does it all, and they do it right. GMV Forestry LLC, the team you can trust. 541-660-6445. 541-660-6445.
All right, welcome back. Of course, the big Russiagate, Obama, I don't know what you want to call it. It's back in the news.
Yeah.
I had Mark Tapson on. He's a scholar in some of this stuff, and he's with the Horowitz Freedom Foundation or Center. And December 9th is the big day back in 1617 when President Obama was still president. President-elect Trump hadn't taken office yet, and they meet on December 9th, and that's when they came up with the big Russiagate thing. Mm-hmm. So I asked him, I said, Mark, so what was the President Obama's administration goal? I mean, President-elect is he's going to take office.
Right.
Was that to get him out before he took office, or to damage him so he couldn't govern?
Question,
and here's what he said.
A little of both, whatever they could manage. I mean, as I mentioned before, when Donald Trump won the election, it was quite a shock to the Democrat Party. Up to that point, the deep state had been they'd been researching whether or not there were ways that they could undermine the Trump campaign. So, for example, in September of 2016, the CIA and the FBI were reporting. They were looking into the possibility that Russia might be trying to influence the election, and they were reporting at that time that Russia had taken no steps to penetrate U.S. election systems or to manipulate public opinion in favor of one candidate or another. What little the Russians had done, such as a kind of an impotent social media campaign to discredit both candidates, that was similar to what they had always done at U.S. election time, which was try to pit Americans against each other. But not only did Russia not try to sway the election for Trump, they actually wanted Hillary to win because they thought she was more susceptible to blackmail. But in any case, up to that point, there was no evidence of Russian collusion with Trump. But after Trump won, that wasn't enough for Barack Obama. He ordered these agency chiefs. He had this meeting, as I mentioned earlier, and ordered these agency chiefs to come up with something linking Russian influence to the election. And excuse me again, frog in my throat. And Mark Levin at the time called this effort a silent coup by the Obama administration. It kicked off years of the Mueller investigations, as you will recall, and impeachment proceedings against the president, not to mention tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars wasted and lives destroyed along the way. It's arguably the biggest scandal in American political history. And it exposes the fact that the less beloved Messiah, whom they always claim was scandal-free, Barack Obama, during his administration, was the man behind the curtain directing all this chaos, and he himself was the threat to democracy that they always claim Donald Trump was. But yeah, their goal was not so much to convict Trump of anything, but basically just to undermine and subvert the legitimacy of his presidency.
Okay, so all that's got to be played out. Yesterday, a former staffer inside the Biden administration began to talk about this and a little bit as it related to the 2020 election as it spilled over as to whether or not that was a legitimate election, that whole part of the argument. Yeah. And he's basically saying the reason they covered up for Biden as well, the Democratic, they were on such a roll getting Biden elected, they thought they had it all in the bag. Yeah. That he stood to make $8 million had Biden run the second term, and he didn't. He backed away, and then when they took him out of the race. So anyway, this is I know everybody's tired of it. I'm tired of it. But we have to get to the bottom of this, or it will happen again. Yes, and let the chips fall where they may. So he doesn't think anybody. Let me rephrase that. He doesn't think that President Obama will be indicted, but certainly embarrassed. But some of the lower echelon groups probably could. The Brennans, the Clappers, possibly Clinton herself, the Comeys, all the way on down. And one of the things they could get him for is perjury.
Right. And, you make a great point. We should not let the fatigue get in our way of actually finding out and having justice on this.
Well, look, we've never seen anything like this, and it's when the news media was complicit into the whole narrative. Yeah. And the news media, isn't it interesting? The news media not only was complicit in this, the legacy media, screaming and yelling and really trying to put Trump out. I mean, the guy has been shot at, he's been investigated, he's been violated at his home. I mean, the list goes on and on. And he not only ended up winning, he's still standing. Yeah. The irony of all irony is the media went after him, but the media today has fallen apart.
And they're continuing.
He has beat the media too.
Totally.
And it's pretty interesting to watch. Stick around. Mark Little's going to be with us. Always fascinating. I have a question for him that he's not expecting.
Oh, great.
And is there a solution to homelessness? Apparently the president is looking into this. Wow. And we'll talk to Dr. Robert Marbut about that coming up just a little bit.
Well, I have another wildlife encounter on video. Yesterday, it was with a dolphin, and this morning, it's with a gator. While vacationing in Kissimmee, Florida, Sarah Louise Martin from Gravesend, UK, was enjoying a peaceful morning and filming a small alligator near a group of deer. But what started as a calm wildlife moment quickly turned into a hilarious twist of fate. In the now viral video, Martin greets viewers and points out the gator. But then her neighbor, apparently not thrilled with the scaly visitor, decides to take matters into her own hands. She tosses her shoes in the gator's direction, hoping to scare it off. It almost worked. But after the gator had turned away, she tossed her shoes a second time. That's when the gator delivered a dose of hilarious revenge. He grabs one of the shoes in his mouth and casually takes it with him back into the pond.
There you go. And the gator got Jerry. The gator got Jerry, and we replaced her with the company dog. Okay, this is Piper, and Piper is our dog, and I've had to bring her to work this week because she was alone. So anyway, she's here. So I just wanted you to see a beautiful. People want to know what she is. She is a English setter, right there. But she's as sweet as can be. Isn't that cute? Isn't she prettier and cuter than Jerry? I think you want to replace Jerry? She said yes. All right, take with you the scripture that changes the whole world. This is the scripture that everything hinges on because it's so impacting. For God so loved the world, that's everybody, that he gave his only son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. All right, stick around. Oops, sit down. Sit down.
Through the ceiling, keep on believing. Don't you give up.
seconds or less, the length of a typical soundbite, you can't really learn much. It takes time to ask questions and understand. Focus Today does just that. We give you an hour so you can understand better. Focus Today on the Dove TV.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Where big ideas grow.
A lot of the drugs and alcohol I began to do was an escape from the pain. Struggle with my identity, struggle with my sexuality, struggling with feeling like I wanted to be loved. I would cry about it, I would be sad about it, but then I would find myself back doing it. And I heard a voice and say, it's just a question. If you was to die right now, where would you spend eternity?
Friday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Jesus says this in John 15, verses 8 and 16. You bring glory to my Father. You want to bring glory to Father? Here's how you do it. You bring glory to my Father, and you show you're my disciples. You want to prove you're really a follower of Christ? You show you're my disciples by bearing much fruit. Notice that word, much fruit. God wants a big family. He says, I chose you and I've called you to bear fruit that will last. Now, I want you to notice from that verse, Jesus says, God expects me and he expects you and he expects this church to bear much fruit. So that's what we're going to believe God for. Now, even more important is that God promises and God guarantees your fruitfulness in life if you follow certain instructions.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Hunters, where the true target is the truth of the gospel. Watch Twin Factor, weekends on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative.
Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and I'm always just really taken when we have moments to sit down with our good friend, Pastor Mark Little. Pastor Mark is an interesting gentleman. He's an attorney. He's an activist. He has a heart for America, and he has a heart for the whole pro-life movement. He's been such a frontline warrior for so many years. He he's the executive director of Cure America Action. There's a picture of that landing page, and you can go to cure-action.com is the website, cure-action.com. Brother Mark, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Mark is my very much younger brother.
Brother from a different mother. I love it. Good morning. Good morning.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, brother. And yesterday was my celebration of life. It's the 42nd anniversary of the day I was shot. And so I take that as a holy birthday and time of reflection and Thanksgiving. So thank you very much.
So Mark, if you allow me, I've been working on a question when I woke up this morning, and I still haven't quite got it yet, but I want you to take just a moment, look back on your life, and share with us, not only from 22 years ago, but here you are, a pastor. That's a lot of time. What happened in there? What happened in your life there?
Yeah. Well, yesterday was actually spent reflecting on that very question and the journey and where I am now and how it all happened. And the reality is that two things happened. One, God gave me my wife, Tigra, who led me to a church in Inglewood, California, called Faithful Central Bible Church. And being in the atmosphere and in the environment of a bishop who was very scholarly, it led me to seminary. Not to get a degree, but to get closer with the Lord. Then they made me get a degree. I did that for 10 years. And then I was ordained in that process by a man named Larry Titus, who is the executive director of Kingdom Global Ministries, a global ministry. And when I was ordained, something changed. The Lord put me in high gear. He changed my heart. I became a shepherd, which is in the Greek, pastor. And he began to order my steps differently. And the things that I cared about changed. And my commitment to things changed. And it's led me to where I am today. Even the question of politics, the government sphere, my focus on that shifted. I ran for office because of that. And so that's it. When you decide to let him order your steps and you decide not to go your own way, you actually end up someplace pretty good.
Okay, it would be easy for us for a moment to go into your love for country, and I do want to reserve some time for that. But I've been brewing with a question that was based upon, we get a lot of prayer requests here at theDove. They come in, and we are genuinely moved by the fact that people would share such intimate details about their issues of life and want us to pray for them. And we take it seriously. But as I was reviewing some of those that actually came via email, and I was just sat down there, I don't even know what caused me to do it. Obviously, the Lord did, because I got this question in my head. But I'm reading these emails, and there's a little bit of a pattern of the ones that I was reading. Number one, they're all believers. Number two, it appeared that most of them had been walking with the Lord for a significant amount of time. And number three, they all seem to be in the trial of their life. Now, you and I have talked a lot about what's happening in the world, but is there a squeeze that's going on with seasoned believers? And if so, why do you think that is?
Well, you don't know this, but I'm editing my book called Leadership Warriors, A Call to Lead in a Hostile Age. And it is about leading in the wilderness. Like many of the people that wrote you, I myself am in the same place. So what a wonderful coincidence. In part, in my writing the book, of course, I talk about Moses, Aaron, and Joshua, and then Yahweh, and then how all of that wilderness experience points to Jesus and his fulfillment of some of the things that they got wrong. But then as I rounded that book out, I began to write an epilogue, and it actually became chapters. And I began to see the things in the culture that the church is just ignoring, like our idolatry of homosexual marriage, transgenderism, abortion, and racism, and how in a culture, these things should not be idols as strong as they are. And then I turned the page and I looked at the Greek organizations, sororities and fraternities, and how we've replaced our commitment to God with these things that we call social organizations that we, so many of us, believers, pastors, belong to. And so the church, the body of Christ, is surrounded by these things that we don't realize are covenants. And so for me, as I was writing the book, it was just a sort of a wake-up call. And we are in trials and we're in tribulations. Why? Because God wants us to stay on our knees as we draw closer to Him. We get our assignment. We hear. As we're on our faces. At least for me, the more I turn toward him, the more I understand what he is saying, and I'm being shown things that the light needs to be shined on. Every time I'm on here, I talk about Matthew 5:13. We are light, but where are we shining? And are we even shining? And so we're in the church, the body of Christ, a part of some of these institutions, and we don't even realize that we're dancing with the devil. And so some of these trials, some of us are in that stuff, and we need to know, we need to come out from among them, as the word says. But in others of us who are not, we need to be able to say, hey, come out from among them to our fellow believers. And so trials come to test our faith. And I love it because I'm being tested as we speak, as having moved to a different state, having uprooted my life and my family for the first time, leaving my influence in Los Angeles, which was 30 plus years. And now I find myself asking God, where are you? And what does that do? That turns me toward him. It has me on my face more. It has me remembering what he's already done. And if he could provide manna and water in the desert for 40 years, if he could put himself in a pillar of fire at night and a cloud by day, he's the same God today as he was then. And so I'm led to remember who it is I serve. And that strengthens my faith that he's got my tomorrow.
Okay, you're hitting on exactly what I'm trying to hit on myself. And that is, are you, I asked the question somewhat rhetorically, but are you at a point where you don't know what to do?
Yeah, it's even worse than that. I'm at a point where, because that's like the second question. The first question is identity. So many of us are, particularly if you're seasoned and you've been doing this a long time and you look back in the rearview mirror, some of us are even struggling with identity. You know, the Lord has gifted me with the talent of, well, really the degree of being a lawyer, licensed in 2 states, and he's given me a heart for people. That's where the pastor comes in. And he's given me the gift to be able to talk to you extemporaneously about world events and church events. And so what does that look like? What is my identity, God, in you? What is my biblical identity? I know I'm a co-heir. I'm a joint heir with Jesus Christ. I know I've been redeemed from the hand of the enemy. I understand my identity in Christ. But what is my identity that goes beyond being in Christ? My identity is tied to, what are you calling me to do? What are you calling me to do with that identity? And some of us get stuck because we're gifted. We can do multiple things, but sometimes that looks amorphous. It looks ambiguous. It looks confusing, even for the person doing it. And so my identity is in question. And what to do and how to be effective, because we're in the last ages, for real. We're in the end times. So where can I be most effective? So some of us are having an identity crisis.
Has this been a test to your theology?
Thankfully, it's not been a test to my theology. What it has done is what I said earlier. It has allowed me to be assured and reassured that what he did for me 20 years ago, he's still doing. The Bible says, he who has created a good work in you is faithful to complete it. And so I know he orders my steps. I love that song. I love song. I believe it's 32 or 37. I love that he orders my steps and I delighteth in my way. And even when I'm messing up and I'm not going as fast or in the direction that I think I'm going, the word says, although a man may falleth, he shall not be utterly destroyed. He says, I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. That's a prophetic utterance to us, that he's got us. If we just keep walking, we might go to the left sometimes, and we might go to the right, and even though we're supposed to be right straight. But then Romans 8:28 says, all things are working together for good for those who love him. called according to his purpose. So all of that stuff undergirds me, Perry, in a time of suffering, in a time of crisis, even in a time of concern, in a time when I can't see God, in a time when sometimes I can't hear God. I can look back and know that he is the same God today as he was yesterday, when he prevented me from dying after I was shot, when he prevented me from being totally not paralyzed, but totally handicapped and unable to operate with the use of one limb. During the time when I didn't know if I was going to get into law school, I took the LSAT seven times and was rejected by USC. I kept trying. God, where are you? Where are you? Well, why can't I get this done? Where are you? And finally they said, come on in, you're welcome. That's the God that I remember. That's the God that I remember.
Okay. I want to say to you as a brother, and at the same time, have you respond, but what you are experiencing seems to be common among a lot of seasoned believers. They're in a stage right now. Where are you, God? And it's not necessarily, I guess we can point our fingers in a lot of directions, the culture and all these things. All that creates anxiety. But it's kind of like, is God testing us to a point? Do we really believe? Are we really willing to get out of the boat? Do we really believe our steps are ordered? Do we really believe that even in the middle of this silent moment in our life where heaven seems to be all doors shut, we're in an identity crisis. We're in a theological challenge. We are in a purposeless-driven moment. I want to say to you, from what I'm sensing, you're not alone. Got my moments too. And I guess what we're saying here is, what do you think God is trying to communicate to the seasoned believer in this season of end times?
What's beautiful about what you said is I have an answer, maybe not the only answer, but because I'm walking through it and because I'm writing about it, it's on the tip of my tongue. And I would say to you, and I would say to others who are feeling the way I am and feeling the way you are, because we're seasoned and because we know God and because we've seen the hand of God, that's what we first rely on. So inherently, we don't ask the question, where are you? Because we know he's there. But I want to just redirect us, because the question is what is the shift? Israel wandered for a whole generation because there were lessons to be learned. Because that generation couldn't go into the promised land. They had to learn some lessons. And so I'm asking the Lord, don't let me miss it. I know I'm in a shift. I know you have me in a holding pattern. I know your sovereignty. You're lining up dominoes in your sovereignty. I know what you're doing, Lord. But just give me some encouragement while I'm in the wait. Because the word says, they that wait upon the Lord. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? That means we're going to have to wait sometime. So they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. So there's a season where he's having us wait. Guess what? So we can renew our strength for the next season. We're going to another season where he's going to use our gifts. He's going to use what he taught us in this waiting season. We just have to be courageous enough and patient enough to know that he is who he said he is and that he's going to get out of us what he said he's going to get out of us. So we have to keep waiting until he says, now go. Okay. I'm waiting.
All right, let me take a quick break. I got more to kind of lean on you with. Check out Pastor Mark's website, cure-action.com. And let me say this, support him. He's a frontline warrior. And because his message is powerful, we need him out there. Support him. We'll be right back.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Put your gold in an envelope, mail it. Hopefully you get a check. No. Father and son jewelry, bring your gold in, we weigh it, we check it, we make you the offer.
Or turn your something old into something new. Whether it's an idea, a picture, or a piece you want to duplicate, we can melt it down and make it for you.
If you find your perfect piece in store, trade your something old for something new, and you always get a little extra.
Visit Father and Son Jewelry, 5 generations of family in Medford.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
Have you seen Mornings on the Dove?
Late for church. I'm pushing it a little bit. And the guy in front of me is dogging it. And you get maybe a little too close. So you're trying to push him a little bit. I got to get there. And you get to the church parking lot and they turn in front of you. So you watch which way they go when they go in the parking lot. You go the other way. And Pam says, I told you not to do that. Yeah. Okay. And she was right.
Cliff Connectley travels across America to give an answer to questions, doubts, and challenges concerning faith.
So one of the reasons I believe that God exists.
Join him for Give Me an Answer, weekdays on the Dove TV.
Welcome back. Such a joy and an honor to have with us Pastor Mark Little. He's Executive Director of Cure American Action, and his website is cure-action.com, and there's a picture of the landing page. Go there, help them, support them, keep them out on the front line. Well, we're getting a little deep here between brothers. Mark, I've learned a couple of principles, and I'm sure you've learned these too, especially if you are running a ministry. That sometimes the only way that God can get our attention is through leanness. It could be spiritual leanness, could be financial leanness, can be all kinds of things. Could be health leanness. Those aren't necessarily signs of disapproval, but those are the things that God uses us to slow us down to get our attention. I've also said that there's only 2 things that will ultimately change you, inspiration or desperation. And in those 2 cases, sometimes God uses desperation to inspire you to do the right thing. Then the other principle that I've learned is before a birth of a new season or a new whatever, there's the pain. And the pain usually comes in the form of an attack. Every time this ministry here goes forward, every time we go forward, all hell breaks loose. Excuse my language, but it's true, okay? Does that ring a bell with you?
Oh, no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. And because I've been a part of advising many ministries, large ministries and small ministries, and even our ministry, No Longer Bound Abortion Miscarriage Recovery Ministry, there's absolutely no doubt about that. It applies not only to ministries, but to believers as well. The enemy, John 10:10, is seeking whom he's come to kill, steal, and destroy. And then we have he's seeking in Romans, seeking whom he may devour. So we've got an enemy on our back anyway. But also as relates to our relationship with God and what He is doing in and through us. Just in terms of, you use the right metaphor. You use the right metaphor. A birth. Birth comes with pain. Birth comes with pain, and that birthing canal is birthing destiny. And destiny is not birthed simply or easily because God births greatness out of us. How do we know that? Because we're made in His image, and there's nothing that He creates that is trash. He's birthing greatness, and so we have to be in tune enough to know that if we're His, that He's doing a great work through us. And that does come with pain. I'd prefer it come with inspiration and not desperation. Unfortunately, I know both. I know both. But both, by the way, if you're really listening and following Him, if you're inspired or if you're desperate, both of them bring you to your knees.
What? There's another truism I learned. The birth of a vision, the death of a vision, and the resurrection of a vision. And the reason you go through those cycles, you'll give birth. And if you're not careful, the first thing you do is you put your hands on it and call it mine. That's when it dies. And the purpose of that death is to get your hands off of it, because it's His ministry, not yours. And then it's resurrected.
Boy, that is so true. Particularly when it relates to ministry. I'll say something that's a little controversial, but it's true. Oftentimes, our ministries become egocentric. They become businesses, organizations, ministries, however you want to call it, that revolve around a charismatic leader or founder. And by the way, that charismatic leader or founder is made of flesh and blood.
Yep.
And inherently, flesh and blood is going to fail. It's going to make a mistake. But when the ministry is rooted and grounded in the Creator, the one who birthed the ministry through you, then when something goes wrong, you can look at him and say, all right, I'm waiting for you to fix it.
Yeah.
This is your ministry. Or, how do you want me to grow, Lord? Or, how many services do you want me to have, Lord? Mm-hmm. Do you want me to build this big cathedral, or do you want me to do satellites or home church like the first century? Well, what's the move of the church in this age, God? I want to hear from you. How do we get these youth to get off their phones and look at you? Through, even if it has to be through technology. How do we get them to do that and not be gamers, but to be lovers of the word? What are you saying, Lord? Not how smart am I? Because God knew technology was going to be here. God knew the impact of AI and what it's doing right now, lying and carrying on. He knew that. So how, are we leaning on Him? Yeah. Are we leaning on our tech gurus who are ungodly?
The end of my first year of Bible school, I didn't go to seminary, but I went to Bible school. And one of our professors got up, and it was his last message to us, and the last day of class, I'll never forget it. Because I learned a lot in the class by accident, I guess. I wasn't that smart. But anyway, he got up and he said, never. You think he was giving a Winston Churchill speech. He got up and he said, never, 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 never name a ministry after yourself. And that was his message to the class.
He could have walked out on that one, and you all would have paid exactly the right price. You can't get any better advice than that. That is so true. We've got idolatry in the culture. We just don't know it. We don't know it's idolatry.
Well, what he was saying there, but what he was saying there, obviously, it's not your ministry, it's his. But the other thing he was saying is you just limited your ministry to one generation.
Yeah, that's right.
So think about that.
And we see a lot of that even when it's not named after the person. We see that right here in Texas. It's so true.
What a mess. All right, do what you do best, pray.
I love it. I love it. Do I have 30 seconds?
Take your time. I know where you live.
I love it. I love it. Father, God, we come before you first. We give you glory, God. We give you praise. We give you honor. We thank you for this discussion Lord, Perry and I didn't talk before this. He didn't know that you had me on my face in a season of wilderness leadership. But look what happened, Lord. You pulled out of us something for your people, something that they need to hear. That just like with the Israelites leaving Egypt, you could have sent them by the near way to Canaan, but no, you sent them through the wilderness. Why? Because you were protecting them. If they had gone the other way, they would have turned back because of war, you said. But you sent them in the wilderness. And so God, meet us in this our wilderness season. A season, God, of blessings, but also the wilderness is a place of miracles. The wilderness is a place where you feed us miraculously. You give us food. You give us manna daily. You give us water, even from a rock. It's a place of miracles. It's a place where destiny is being birthed. So we thank you, Lord God, for what you're doing as you stretch us, as you wring us out of culture, as you wring us out, God, of those things that are not like you, as you wring us out, God, of covenants that we've made, God, that are not of you. We thank you for what you're doing as you wring us out, wringing out the things that displease you. Bless us and keep us as we are in this season, waiting season, the wringing out season. Keep us strong, God, with our eyes fixed on you. Yes. I thank you for what you'll do. I thank you for the testimonies that will come forth. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Love you, brother.
Love you, my friend. Talk to you soon. I love you so much.
Okay, you too. God bless you, friend.
Looking for the perfect RV adventure?
Team Toner's got you covered from homes to homes on wheels.
Discover unbeatable deals only at American RV in Southern Oregon.
It can be puzzling assembling all the right pieces for your insurance needs in retirement. I'm Michelle Slate. Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance. Guiding you through the stormy seas of insurance, Lighthouse stands out as a beacon of hope, offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today, 541-494-1034.
Chris Silva understands your home and your commercial buildings are two of the largest investments most people make in a lifetime. One is for your family, the other is to support your family financially. That is why Chris Silva Painting goes the extra mile to protect both homes and commercial buildings with proper painting preparation and high-quality primers and paints. Serving Southern Oregon since 2006, this family-owned and operated business has painted over 1,000 homes. Chris Silva Painting offers an industry-leading 5-year warranty that covers materials and labor on all painting projects work for both residential and commercial buildings, both interior and exterior painting. Chris and his crew are courteous, they are efficient, organized, timely, and clean. Chris Silva Painting also offers military discounts. At Chris Silva Painting, our mission statement is to bring Christ's heart and principles to our customers and our job sites. We do that with honesty, integrity, and hard work. We don't cut corners, we paint them. CCB number 176097. Chris Silva Painting, 541-890-3960.
Cliff Connectley travels across America to give an answer to questions, doubts, and challenges concerning faith.
So one of the reasons I believe that God exists.
Join him for Give Me an Answer, weekdays on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. And of course, the subject of homelessness really has impacted just about every part of our country and every community. We've seen it in our own backyard. We've seen major cities across the country destroyed because of it. What is it? What's happened? Why the explosion with this issue? We are so honored to have with us today Dr. Robert Marbut. He is a former homeless czar and a senior fellow of the Discovery Institute Centers on Wealth and Poverty. He has served as chief of staff for the San Antonio Mayor Henry Kissinger Kisnorris and in the early 80s, and as a White House fellow under George H.W. Bush, and most recently as the executive director of the U.S. Interagency Council of Homelessness from 2019 to 2021 under both the Trump and Biden administrations. There is a website, discovery.org is the website, and there's a picture of that landing page with his picture on it. There again, discovery.org. Dr. Marbut, good to see you. How are you, friend?
Thank you very much for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Great. Where are you? Where are you talking from?
I'm actually at a mission called Bethany House, which is in Laredo, Texas, right on the border. Wow. And we're just adding a new wing today, so I'm down here helping out on that. It's a project we've been working on for a couple of years, and they're expanding their men's dorm. So that's where I am.
Good for you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thanks for your time. All right. So the president just issued an executive order targeting homelessness. Can you explain what this might entail?
Well, it does a lot of things, and there's been a lot of media around it. But the most important part of the president's executive order, and I absolutely have to applaud the president for leaning in and doing what needs to be done, is he's going to take the money that has been given to past programs over the last 12 or 13 years that are going to things what we call harm reduction. And so it's like safe needle exchange, safe consumption sites, how to make drugs safe, which I personally think you can't make fentanyl safe. Mm-hmm. Fentanyl, you can't make the fentanyl supply safe. You can't make using fentanyl safe, but that's what that money's been going to. And that money's going to stop and will now start going to treatment and recovery programs. And the simplest way to sum it up is our government policies across the country, and most of the country, the federal government, cities like you were talking about, like San Francisco, they have been making it easy to get high and hard to get treatment. And I just think we have to flip that on the head and say, we care so much about you as a human being. We want to make recovery and treatment easy and make it hard to get high.
Very good. Let me just ask you a couple of fundamental questions. Why has this issue exploded?
And to me, very simple. In 2013, the federal government changed their policy. Pre-2013, if you helped a person with a house or housing or a vehicle or a gas card or transportation, you were required to be in a treatment program. You were required to be working on your issues. And that could be untreated mental illness. It could be substance abuse. It could be job training. It could be whatever you need. And in 2013, the president and the federal government fundamentally changed it and said, we're just going to give you free housing, free cars, free gas, things for free. And you didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to be in a treatment program. In fact, they made faith communities not allow anymore, if they receive federal money, to require being in a treatment program. So think about a college Pell Grant. Right now, when you get a college Pell Grant, you have to attend class 88.5% of the time. You have to have a 2.0. You have to finish in your design time period, normally 3, 4, 5 years. But imagine if we did the Pell Grant that every semester we sent you a check and you didn't have to go to school, you didn't have to graduate, you didn't have to work a program, you didn't have to have a GPA. That's what we did to our federal homeless policy, and most states then followed that around the country. So we stopped treating the root cause of homelessness, is the simplest way to say it. And most street-level homeless is based in untreated mental illness and substance abuse.
So at the end of the day, from 2013 to where we are today, am I overstating to say it just got politicized?
Yes, but no, you're exactly right. And it did become political, and we moved from making clinical decision and common sense decisions to make politically woke decisions. And President Trump in his first administration kept trying to undo this and work with Congress and work with the other side of the aisle. And it never could get done. He just couldn't get it done because so many people wanted to keep it in political ideology rather than a clinical treatment. And now that's what's so great about what the president has done now is he said, I'm not going to wait for that. We're going to just get going and we're going to do what we need to do right now, immediately. And I applaud President Trump for sort of taking the bold action to change the course and start treating again. When we treated homelessness was going down, ironically, in the last part of 08, 09, and 10. And then when they stopped saying, we're no longer going to fund it and you can do whatever you want, you can be an addicted, you can bring drugs into our facility, you can bring alcohol in, that's when it all got amok and went awry.
Okay, so the other part of this equation is during that politicization of all of this, DEI comes into effect, and that pretty much became the barrier from using or allowing faith communities to organizations, I should say, from doing what they do, which they do not only so much better, they do it with a heart, and they do it certainly a whole lot more efficiently. With DEI coming off the table, is that going to open the door for the faith organizations to come alive again?
Well, you bring up such an important thing. Before I directly answer it, I want to celebrate the faith community. The faith community, Salvation Army, the Union Rescue Mission Network, which is now called Citygate Network, some of the independents, both of those, and you can go back to the American Red Cross when it was a faith organization shortly after the Civil War. All three of those groups are founded shortly after the Civil War to deal with the orphans, the widows, and the veterans who had disabilities from the Civil War. The government didn't do anything. The federal government doesn't get involved with homeless in an official way until 1987. So for almost 100 years, the faith community led the way and was almost the only way in most parts of the country. And they did a really good job. Homelessness was down. And in some ways, when the federal government got involved, that made it political, like you mentioned before, and started working towards sort of, in my opinion, very woke, extreme policies that say we want to allow you to do your addiction, we want to allow you to be you and do your addiction, and we'll even help you out, we'll try to make the drugs safe. You can't make fentanyl safe. The fentanyl crisis has changed the landscape on the street. And so this order, my goal, and what I've expressed to the administration is a real hope that we move to what I call a faith neutral, because in 2013, the Obama administration started putting in guidelines that said, if you're a faith organization and you want to help people experiencing homelessness, you have to take down your religious symbols. You have to take down the messages in the hallway. You can't have Bibles in the room and such like that. And to me, if your faith organization does a great job of helping getting people out of homelessness, we should let you do it and don't discriminate. I totally agree they shouldn't discriminate, but there are enough safeguards for that. And most faith groups take you as you are. They love you so much that we take you as you are, but we also love you too much to let you stay in your addiction. And the faith community has a long history, long before the federal government. They do it better, they do it more efficient, and they do it more effective.
So the other part of that question is the administration has really reversed DEI as a basis of operation now from just about every federal agency out there. And being a broadcaster, we were obviously fighting it through the FCC and all of those issues, but we are a faith-based organization. But the point being is, with the removal of DEI, does that allow faith-based organizations to be considered resources from the federal government to help with homelessness?
Absolutely. And some other things are going to go. When the federal government was putting in, I'm going to oversimplify it, but in 2013, in the second administration of President Obama, they basically put in a bunch of laws, not just DEI, but many more, that basically said if you're a faith group, you got to sterilize your entire program, sterilize your building, sterilize your process, just to bid for a grant. And it just really made it where a lot of faith groups said, we're not going to change who we are.
Yeah.
And if you're going to let us do it our way, we're backing out. And so the faith community really exited the field in terms of being a partner with government. They did it on their own. They did it the way they know best. But the problem with that is they lost a lot of funding, which meant they lost capacity and they lost the ability to help a large number of people.
Yeah. It's so interesting because if you just look statistically at the results from various faith-based organizations, it's by far more encouraging. And in our own backyard, we have two main addiction recovery organizations that happen to be faith-based. They don't lead by that, but they're certainly anchored in that. And their statistics, Dr. Marbut, are amazing. I mean, it's just amazing. Anyway, I don't want to drill down on that too hard, but I'm glad to hear that maybe that door's reopening.
You should, because why would the federal government in 2013 say, all of you who are doing a great job, for some reason you have the secret sauce and you're doing a great job, we're going to make you not do it that way. Yet we want you to still help us out, but you can't do it the way you know it works well.
Yeah.
That to me is nuts.
Okay. All right, let me take a quick break. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, Dr. Robert Marbut, his website is discovery.org. There he's the executive director there. In so many ways, he works with so many organizations. He used to be the czar in this, and he's frontline warrior with it. So check it out. We'll be right back.
Life has many challenges. When you need answers, theDove.us is here with encouragement, videos, news, and information to restore, renew, and point you to what matters most. Turn to theDove.us, encouraging and informative.
Have you seen Mornings on the Dove?
They're trying to track down what and how did the auto pen of former President Joe Biden was used? And did the president ever give the order? This is serious stuff. The legacy media reporting the bombing in Iran was low effect. The sites were obliterated. They were gone. You got to ask yourself the question, why are you doing this?
News with a little bit of common sense. Mornings on the Dove, weekdays 6 to 8 a.m.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Heavenly Father, I just want to say thank you today. I don't want to pray just when I need something or when things aren't going my way. I need you all the time, no matter what is going on. And I just want to say thank you. Even though things aren't perfect, you are, and your plan for me is. Thank you for your grace, for your mercy, for your unconditional love for me. And most of all, thank you for sending your son Jesus to die for my sins to prove that unconditional love. That even while I was a sinner, he died for me. Thank you. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Twin Factor is brought to you on the Dove TV by Black Flag Armory. Firearms, gunsmithing, training, and the best prices in Southern Oregon. Twin Factor, weekends on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. What an honor to have with us today Dr. Robert Marbut. He is a former homeless czar, and now he's a senior fellow at the Discovery Institute Center on Wealth and Poverty. We're talking about homelessness, and there is a picture of his website, discovery.org is where you can check in with him, discovery.org. Dr. Marbut, is it true, and help me with this, that homelessness is usually in 3 categories? So you got the mental health, you got the addiction, and then I don't know how you say the third one, but it's a transition. It's somebody that doesn't really want a hand out, but a hand up. Something fell apart in their life, and they're just trying to get back. Is that fair to say there's 3 categories of homelessness?
I think there's one more large category, or a high number of people in a category, is in particular on the family side and with women, is domestic violence.
Oh, wow.
Domestic violence survivors and victims. And so if you add that in, that probably between those 4 categories, the 3 you mentioned, domestic violence, probably gets you to about 92% of the overall homelessness in the United States.
Is it epidemic now?
Oh, no other country in the world is seeing this. A couple of weeks ago, I was all over South America. I was in Buenos Aires, I was in Santiago, I was in El Fate, I was moving all over. And you don't see this in third world countries. You don't see this in second world countries. This is a unique problem of the United States. And part of it is we've lost accountability on one side. Another part of it is the federal government bad policy of the past, which this executive order with President Trump will reverse that. But we have been funding safe consumption sites rather than treatment. I just can't even think, how did we get so off the rail? And in the faith community, there's also sometimes enablement that goes on in the faith community. I think there was a great book written about almost 2 decades ago, Toxic Charity. And there were actually several books written about that. And we need to help people, meet people where they are. It's very biblical. And then you help them get out. But we shouldn't be enabling people's addictions. That should not be what we are doing. And we shouldn't enablement not working. That should not be something we're doing.
Are we become callous to this because it's so vast?
Well, sadly, the cities that are trying to deal with it are the ones that are so beyond crisis. Like San Francisco, I don't recognize anymore. I go there a lot because of the homeless situation, and they have a new mayor who's really trying to make some change now, and I applaud the new mayor. They have a district attorney who's also trying to work real hard. But that city is almost lost. I don't know how they bring that city back. I hope they do, but I don't know how. We have parts of LA that are just like, third world looks better. Parts of Seattle now, Honolulu, Portland, Chicago, New York. We've just lost our cities, and we've lost our common sense, and that's how we sort of got to where we are now. But the good news is I'm starting to see people change. I'm starting to see mayors use common sense rather than political ideology or sort of a woke extremism. And I think people are now so fed up with it now that we need to take good, thoughtful, common sense action. And it has to absolutely be compassionate. And I think with compassion and accountability, you get great success. Or to put it another way, compassion without accountability is enablement.
Yeah. Dealing with the 4 categories is one thing, but since we've closed the border, is there continued efforts to cut off the drug chain, either with the cartels or fentanyl coming from China? Is the administration zeroing in on that?
The administration has done more to shut down the fentanyl supply than the prior administration ever. I was really shocked of the prior administration, the Biden administration. It wasn't until the last 6 months of their term that they started even talking about fentanyl. Fentanyl, I wrote memos. I talked to, when I transitioned from Trump to Biden and then exited the Biden administration and became a civilian, I talked about the fentanyl supply is out of control. You guys got to really start focusing on it. You gals, you got to really take this as the focus because we're losing our cities. And this is before it became middle class and came across America. Now it's everywhere. And this administration has done more to deal with China and has done more to deal with Mexico. And candidly, we got to focus on the northern border now. We're starting to see a lot of fentanyl come across the northern border. And as we clamp down on that, I think the next wave fentanyl will start to come in is through gangs. What we see in Canada is the biker gangs that really bring it across the border. And so as we close down the southern border, get real strict with China, we also got to do the same with Canada. And then I think we need to start working with our inner city gangs and start getting very, very serious about the supply there.
The president yesterday announced, based upon fentanyl coming across the northern border, that the tariff increase for Canada is going to go from 25% to 35%, primarily because of this very issue that we're talking about. In other words, telling Canada, get involved in the drug trafficking.
I think actually, and I know I may have a minority opinion on this, but, I just finished doing the documentary Fentanyl Death Incorporated. And the biggest thing we learned was how quick the shift was going from the southwest border to the northern border, and that the Mexican cartels and China were working with the biker gangs up in Canada. And this is my, I'm not in the administration, so I don't get the reports, I don't get the data, but my strong hunch is more fentanyl is coming across the northern border now than the southwest border.
Okay, so back to this executive order. Remind us again how this shifts dollars, and when do you see the impact of this?
It will immediately start the process of shifting dollars from harm reduction programs to treatment and recovery programs. And again, a harm reduction program, that's code word and woke words for safe consumption, use, safe needles, providing straws. Everybody saw what happened in San Francisco. That was just where $26 million of taxpayers' dollars funded a safe consumption site right downtown. I mean, that was just mind-boggling how we ever got to that point. So it shifts the dollars, and it also says let's start focusing on treatment and requirements. Let's make this faith-friendly, where the faith community can get back into it and be a partner with everybody in helping this. And so that will start taking effect immediately. Now, with every grant process that rolls out, each one of those will get reworked in the image of the executive order. And so it will take 6, 8, 9 months to get the full machine going, but it will go. Or think of a tanker ship or a cruise ship. We've turned the wheel. Now we got to wait for the rest of the boat to catch up with us, but it will. And some things will start taking effect immediately.
As far as treatment is concerned, Dr. Marbut, is there guidelines from the federal government or do you let organizations come up with their own?
We're actually working through that issue now, and a lot of people are talking about that. That's a great question because, candidly, nobody ever thought we could get to a point where we were going to get rid of the harm reduction program, so a lot of people weren't thinking about it. I look at an incredible faith program in Baltimore called Helping Up Mission is the best program in the United States. They're part of the old Union Rescue Gospel Mission Network, now called Citygate Network, and it's Helping Up Mission, and they partner with Johns Hopkins University, and everybody in their program has a 40-hour work week or a production week, or, if you're brand new, you're dealing with classes. As you get more mature through the program, you start doing some outside work. But everybody has a 40-hour week productive work. Some of that's classes, some of that's treatment, some of that's vocational training. And within that 40 hours, there's 12 hours of substance use disorder treatment, and if needed, mental health issues, behavioral health issues that is provided by Johns Hopkins. So the mission provides 28 hours of programming a week. Johns Hopkins provides 12 hours of programming a week for a 40-hour week, and they're having phenomenal success rate, probably the best program in the United States right now.
Well, you're making my point, and I'm almost out of time, and that is encouraging you and others to look at faith-based organizations that are successful and let that become the template. We have one here. It's mentored based. In other words, those who have come through the program and have recovered turn around and help others to come through that, which is a biblical thing. Whatever God saves you from brings you through. He may turns you around, makes you a minister too. So
very biblical. Grounded in faith.
What's that?
Very biblical and grounded in faith.
Yeah, I would really hope. So I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your work. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, you can go to discovery.org. That's where you could check out more what Dr. Marbut's doing there. And he's the experienced one. So there it is, discovery.org. Can we get you back sometime?
Happy to come back anytime.
Thank you. God bless you. Thanks for your work.
Thank you for what you do in getting the message out.
Good.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian owned and operated, pet friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
You're watching the Dove TV, encouraging